There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I was just looking at something. You guys, I got to show you something. You see this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, I got to turn it the right way. Have you ever seen this in any store? Somebody told me I could get it at Trader Joe's.
I think we looked it up and it was Whole Foods too, right?
Oh, Whole
Virgil's,
Foods,
we
that's
found
right.
one, yeah.
One of the health ones.
You know, 'cause I gave up caffeine, drinking Diet Pepsi and all. So I love Diet Pepsi and stuff. There's a lot of caffeine. So I gave it up. And I found that at a place called Sprouts, which are, I guess, I don't know where the hell they are, but I started drinking. First of all, I like the wild cherry Diet Pepsi. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I drank that for about 5,000 years. So I tried to, replicate it or duplicate it. And this came about as close, but I just, it's not that easy. You can't find it in like major supermarkets, which I don't really understand.
What's that called? Virgil's?
Virgil's, yeah.
Okay.
Virgil's Zero Black Cherry. And there's nothing dirty or filthy or, deadly in it. It's all good stuff.
Which is probably why you can't find it everywhere, because people love the dirty.
That's probably true.
Love dirt.
That's probably right on the money. So what I've done in the last few weeks is I've kind of changed my attitude toward humanity. Because when I watch the news now, I just start laughing, no matter what it is. These news people, I tell you, between most politicians and most news people, it's not all news people. Local news is good, but national news, and not all of them. And these, all they do is lie for money. That's what they do. Yeah. I watched a little bit this morning. I bounced back between, there's a place called OAN, there's CNN, there's Fox. No matter if let's say it started snowing outside, they would have to change it so it's not really snow. It's a form of frozen rain. So you have to understand that it's not really snow. It's frozen rain. It's like, what the hell what are you talking about? But they make money that way. I mean, they make tons and tons of money by lying to us on a daily. Have you watched any of it recently? The national news?
No, but I'm really happy for your health that you are viewing this. You're consuming this in a different way than you used to, because I think you have to.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I learned in life, the most important thing that I can tell any young person listening right now, don't ever trust anybody. I don't care if they're the president of the United States or the lead anchor, whatever. They are lying to you to make money. That's just a fact, right?
Yeah.
See, we don't lie on this show. We bullshit a lot, but we don't lie. It's a big difference.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't have the energy to lie. Plus, I don't have an incentive. Like, there's nothing I can tell you that's going to make me any money.
Right.
If I lie to you. So. No,
you're absolutely right. It's just absolutely amazing with people and this and that. But honest to God, I kind of developed an edge to me over the years, just trying to trust people. And I found out every time I tried to trust, and it's not everybody, whatever. Well, let me give you an example. I won't name any specifics, but there's a radio company that just went into bankruptcy in America, which I predicted they would do 8 years ago because of who bought them. And I did notice something. I was told, so if it's a lie, you can go have a fit with them or whatever, that the management of that company took huge amounts of money out of it and then filed bankruptcy. Now, that's not very honest now, is it?
Yeah, that's messed up.
That's the one so in other words, basically, you're going to stick the American people with your bills while you take even more money. Is that what is that what we're doing here?
I think much. I mean, here's the thing. I could never have a company that's big where people are relying on that paycheck.
Oh, I know.
The guilt I would have about anything taking from them. So the fact that this person said, I mean, obviously there's a lot of jobs that were in this company, right?
Yeah.
They're just obsolete now, or are they?
I don't know I don't know what they're going to do with the bankruptcy thing. It just basically, it's just, I've got a lot of debt and you're going to have to pay it. That's what it is.
Damn.
So I don't know if anybody, I suppose some people are going to lose their jobs, but it's unfortunate. Radio, look, the one thing you can say about working for Hubbard is not because I work with Hubbard. I do not work for them.
Yeah.
But working for Hubbard is a different experience because they have no debt. You know how important that is right now that they have no debt?
Yeah, it's a different, as somebody who does like full on, I would call them Daddy and Mommy Hubbard. And they give me my little allowance, and I have no problem being like bowing down. They're a great company to work for. And I've worked for a few.
Well, you and I both have worked for a few, and this is where I started, and this is where I'm going to finish my career. And I was very happy about that when Dan Seaman reached out to me and said, "Hey, let's get together," and went over to the Pool and Yacht Club. And what I love about the Pool and Yacht Club?
Everything. It sounds awesome.
There are no yachts. There's a pool, but there are no yachts. That's such a St. Paul thing to do. I love St. Paul for that very thing. And I love the Pool and Yacht Club. Don't get me wrong. It's a great place. They got great food and all the rest of it. But the Pool and Yacht Club in Minnesota is a whole different thing than it is, let's say, in Miami. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, so the Pool and Yacht Club is technically Lilydale.
Yep.
Okay, there used to be a tennis club over there, Lilydale.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
Where that is?
It's as you go down 35E, you get off on, what is it, 13?
Yeah.
I think it's 13. Then you take a right on Lilydale Road, which is beautiful because you can get on that road all along the river. It's a beautiful drive. It's gorgeous. But yeah, it's right there on the left. It's about, I would say, about a city block south of that intersection.
Oh, okay. I think now it looks like they have a garden center where the club used to be in an apartment. But yeah, that's a gorgeous area.
It is. I love it. It is a beautiful area. Also, you're saying the tennis club is closed and it's now an apartment building?
Yeah, it's something. I know it closed a while ago because that's where I used to play tennis as a kiddo. Yeah, that's a gorgeous area. I always think those people that have apartments right there on the lake are so lucky.
Oh, it's beautiful, gorgeous. There's no doubt about that. It's a beautiful area. Well, that's the thing. You got St. Paul's got all that riverfront. Minneapolis got all that riverfront. It's just, I don't know that people realize how lucky we are to be living in Minneapolis. I mean, maybe not when it's below zero next week. I might not say that then. But as a city, the politics are getting disgustingly horrible, over the top. And it's driving me nuts. It's like, would you people settle down? They got this whole situation now they're working on that apparently they thought they had this great idea that they're not going to allow. And I suppose I should probably read the story, but they don't want people destroying our public libraries anymore. Right.
Yeah. So
unless they don't want to let just anybody in there anymore. And what happened? The politicians had to stand up and go, "Oh my God, that is so anti-homeless and it's so racist." What?
Yeah.
You just told me that black people break the law all the time, but I'm the bad guy? I mean, that's what they implied, is that, because they're black, they should be able to break the law. That's not what's happening at all, you dumb bastards.
No.
Tevin, do you get sick of them using your skin color as a shield for them?
Yeah, but I guess I'm confused with the library thing. So I live right across the street from library downtown. And about, we'll say, over the summer, there was definitely a lot of transient type people that would hang out in front of the library because it had this big, it has a big statue and there's a lot of area where you can kind of lay out and whatever, relax. So the reason they've put up, huge fences so that way people have to kind of, piss off and go somewhere else. I've never actually been in that library, but I would assume there's definitely a lot of people going in and out trying to use the bathroom and things like that. So I definitely have seen them trying to keep people out.
Right.
And I didn't, I guess, have a huge issue with it because now I didn't have a crackhead asking me for $20 every time I took my dog for a walk. That was nice. But yeah, I mean, some of the laws that they do make, whether they intend to or not, inadvertently affect people in a negative way that comes off as inappropriate. But at the same time, maybe the library is just tired of being harassed every day by the people that are inside.
Then it's dangerous. People don't want to go there because it's dangerous.
Oh, there were, every day it felt like there were ambulances and fire trucks and emergency responders dealing with either a medical issue because of, drug use or somebody got into a fight or something going on over there.
No, I used to go to that library all the time. Matter of fact, Okay, you have to understand, this was a long, long time ago when they first built that library. So I don't know how many decades ago that was.
Mm-hmm.
But we're walking along one day because I used to cut a lot of voiceovers right there on 5th and Hennepin. And it's right, one block away from the library and all that stuff. So I'm walking along with a client one day. I think it was McDonald's. He came up from Chicago and we're cutting. Matter of fact, let me mention that too, by the way. I cut about 40 commercials for McDonald's for the Olympics in 1984. That's when the guy went to a McDonald's in San Diego and killed 27 people, and they pulled every one of my commercials because they couldn't advertise because all those people got killed. It wasn't their fault, obviously, but they wanted a low profile. So, what are you going to do? But anyway, so I'm walking along with this guy. He's a great guy. We're walking along, and we went past the brand new library and the big old sign. And I'm testing the guy's sense of humor. I go, what the hell does that sign say? And he actually did get the joke because it said public library on the outside, or it just said library, not public. Or did it used to say public library? But see, the point of the story is, never mind. Never mind. We got to get to, we do have Phil. There he is right there. What does that sign say? Mackey. What is that?
It's Mickey. Phil Mackey, actually. Is what Mouse.
Solid.
Happy Black Monday in the NFL, by the way.
The Black Monday.
It's the only industry where they label the day where everyone gets fired.
Yeah. I'm hoping somebody got fired for the Vikings. Did anybody get fired yet?
Nobody got fired yet from the Vikings. Who are you looking to fire? Everyone? A coach? Are you looking to fire a coordinator? What's your game plan? Clean house.
You go away. Good. Hey, listen. Do we have any chance at all of getting Harbaugh out of Michigan?
Well, I mean, Harbaugh's open for business, but
I know he is.
The Vikings would have to show the Vikings would have to fire everyone is what they'd have to do today.
Works for me.
So yeah, he's going to go win the national championship tonight and then become the Chargers coach tomorrow.
You think it'll be the Chargers? Like. I do too. It sounds like the Chargers are going to get him.
Yeah, he and apparently he loves their quarterback. He was telling people like 2-3 years ago how if he came back to the NFL, he'd love to have a guy like Justin Herbert as his quarterback. So
yeah. Well, but look at the value of Larry, Curly, and Mo. We got here with the Vikings. They're just phenomenal.
Hey, Mo threw for 396 yards yesterday. Okay.
Oh boy!
Also, how many interceptions?
Yeah, it was funny because the announcers were like, wow, this is amazing. He's thrown for 300 yards. He has not thrown an intercept. And like before they could finish the sentence, he rifles off 2 interceptions. But yeah, he's Diet Brett Favre. He did his duty, which is make sure the Vikings end the season with a losing streak that gets them a higher draft pick. Although they might be screwed because they're still only drafting 11th based on like tiebreakers. And the top 3 teams, the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots, they all need quarterbacks. So the Vikings might not have tanked enough here in the last few weeks.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it, no question. But look, I'm a big Viking fan, but I'm getting really tired after 60 years of them getting their ass kicked every year. I'm really tired of it.
Yeah, well, it's we're like Cubs fans at this point. There's always next year is kind of our hope and our slogan. Yep. Well, the Cubs, I say this, if the Cubs could go from 1908 to 2016, 108 years, and they finally won a World Series, right?
Right.
We're only like halfway down that road. The Vikings have only been around for 60 years. So I would either say strap in because we're in for another 60 years, or I would say if the Cubs can win a World Series, anyone can win their championship.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I will guarantee you one thing. Let's say it does take another 60 years. Okay. I would be 132 years old, and I guarantee you the day before they won the Super Bowl, I will die.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. I could live 130 years, but the day after I die, they'll win the Super Bowl.
They're just, his heart stopped beating. Clear. The Vikings play in 5 hours. We got to resuscitate him.
We got to do something with Tom.
Open his eyes so we can see the game.
Just weekend at Bernie's in that stadium. Yeah.
Just prop him up.
There you go. They prop me up. Go to the game. Now, I do have to apologize, by the way, because I was not paying attention because they've been so horrible for so long. But this guy over at University of Minnesota men's basketball is getting something done. 7 wins in a row.
Yeah, this is. So Ben Johnson. Yeah, he's a former player, and he's their coach here. And it's hard. I think what's tough because they're still only getting like 6,000 people in there, 7,000 for the games because they were so bad the last 2 years that the bar is now so low that if they just win like 3 conference games to start the season, then he's cleared the expectations. But they're off to a really good start. I think they're 3-1 in conference after beating was it Michigan last night? Mm-hmm. Or no, they beat Michigan on the road, and then they beat Maryland last night at the Barnard, right? And it's tough because in today's college basketball, the transfer portal and like the Gophers lost their best player to an in-conference team last year to Ohio State. So fans don't really identify with the players or really know anyone's names. But the Gophers, I guess the summation is the Gopher basketball team is more competitive than it's been in several years here. So get on out to the barn.
It literally is like 25 years, isn't it, since they've been competitive? Maybe more.
No, well, define competitive, I guess. Like
Jim Dutcher.
Because Clem Haskins took them to a Final Four that we don't speak about.
That's true.
We took those banners down from 19. That's the best part. I love how the Gophers make the Final Four in whatever it was, 1997, right? Mm-hmm. It's the best season in Gopher history. But we had some gal writing papers for some of the basketball players, and that was such a scandal in the late 90s that we had to sanction the program. We had to run Clem Haskins out of town. We had to pull the banners down from the barn rooftop. Yep. And then you go forward a little bit, like 10 years later, we find out that Rick Pitino was literally like turning a blind eye to a prostitution ring at Louisville. Like all these other scandals that we've seen the last 25 years. It's like, wait a second, our guys were just had some gal writing papers for them. Can we get those banners back up?
Why did we take the banners down? Yeah, they shouldn't have done what they did, but was it as bad as what you just said? Hell no, it's not.
No, exactly. Yeah. So I think, it's like Reggie Bush had a Heisman Trophy taken away in the early 2000s because he took like $5,000 and a free car from somebody. And now it's like there's football programs that you got like 50 guys in the parking lot driving Mercedes SUVs. And I know Caleb Williams is the quarterback for USC now. He literally lives in like a $20 million penthouse in downtown Los Angeles because these guys can take money.
Well, I'll tell you honestly, I literally went and visited a friend of mine in Lincoln, Nebraska. His family owned a radio station down there. His name was Roger Agnew, really nice guy. And I get off the airplane, I hop in a taxi, and we drive past the stadium, Nebraska's football stadium. Last count, there were 27 Trans Ams parked next to the. Like, what the hell?
It's hilarious. I mean, you guys probably saw that the 30 for 30 documentary on ESPN. I don't know. It's probably 10 years ago now. It was about the SMU football program from the late 80s that they got the death penalty because guys were taking money. And Eric Dickerson was just driving like $100,000 car in the parking lot. The reporters are like, how'd you get that car? He's got like a Rolex. He's got $500 sunglasses on, just going to practice. But now it's all. I mean, if there's football players. I mean, think about like Caitlin Clark is the star basketball player for Iowa, for instance, and she's on national TV every week. She just hit a game-winning 3-pointer a few nights ago. Caitlin Clark makes a lot more money playing for Iowa with the NIL money that comes in than she would getting drafted number 1 in the WNBA. That's the crazy thing.
That's amazing. WNBA could just not making any money.
I don't think I don't know if they're profitable yet. But the attendance is up, the ratings are up there, but still, even with like the added attention, you're not getting. No one's making like $3, $4, $5 million a year in the WNBA, and there are college athletes that off their Instagram profiles, off of the NIL money that comes in, that just it's better for them to stay in college.
One thing I love about that whole women's program stuff is that I was over at the barn one time, and it wasn't the basketball team, but it was the volleyball team. Was it Mariucci Arena? No, it's what is it?
Well, Mariucci and then Ritter Arena is right next to. There's Williams Arena for basketball, and then there's Mariucci and then Ritter are the three.
Mariucci and then Ritter. Okay. Yeah. But I felt seriously, I felt so intimidated for the first time in my life, because I don't usually get intimidated by anybody, but walking through a group of women who are 7 to 8 inches taller than me was very odd. I'll tell you that. Like,
we should get Tom some of those volleyball shorts too to wear on the YouTube channel. That's what I want to see. I want to see Tom in the spandex volleyball shorts. That's what we want.
We're gonna have to change the channel's rating after that.
Yeah,
Worth it.
Adult content here.
Yeah. They were all about a head taller than me, and I'm like, what the hell? It was just so unusual that it felt kind of, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it felt creepy just because I'd never been through that before. Like, Jesus.
That's another. Tom ranks the top 5 moments where he felt the most creepy and least comfortable in his life. Walking into a volleyball game.
A women's volleyball game.
Yeah.
Honest to God. But yeah, it's, I love by the way, I do love watching University of Minnesota women's volleyball team. They're damn good.
Yeah, they had kind of a down year this year by their standards, and down year for them is like, okay, they're 4th in the conference instead of, competing for a Final Four. And I think they kind of took advantage too for a few years of, the men's basketball program, the women's basketball program, some of the more marquee, headline programs over there were down. And so if you're a Gopher fan looking to go watch a winning team, the volleyball team for about 10 years there was definitely it. By the way, I just like coming across my timeline here on Black Monday in the National Football League. So the Commanders, formerly the Washington Redskins, now Commanders, they have a new owner. So Daniel Snyder was the worst owner in football for like 20 years. He took this glory franchise from the 80s and 90s, right? And just kind of tanked it for like 20 years. So they have a new owner now as of like 6 months ago. But they fired Ron Rivera, the head coach. That was expected. Yes. And what they did was today they announced that they've hired Rick Spielman, the former Vikings general manager, to help oversee the search for their new general manager.
He was terrible.
Well, he was competent. He could build some rosters. He whiffed on a couple quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But he has resurfaced as part of the search for a new Washington general manager, along with the former Warriors, the Golden State Warriors, who had this dynasty for the last 10 years in the NBA. The architect of that Warriors team, Bob Myers, who left the Warriors about a year ago, he will partner with Rick Spielman to find the new front office. But you know what? If I'm that Washington owner, I'm like, well, wait a second. Why don't we just hire those two guys?
Right.
Yeah. I think you could do worse than Rick Spielman. Rick Spielman built some good rosters. He whiffed on Christian Ponder pretty hardcore. That was probably his thing.
He was a nice guy, though, because I used to criticize the piss out of Christian Ponder. Went to a friend of mine's house for dinner. It was like 10 people, 12 people there. Christian Ponder was there, and he could not have been nicer to me. He'd say, I listen to you every morning, man. Love the show.
I had a similar experience, man. Like after his rookie, I swear to God, it's actually one of the most probably embarrassing experiences too in retrospect. So there was some event at Mystic Lake Casino. It was like a private sort of 50 fans in a room, and it was going to be a Q&A with Christian Ponder, and I was the MC for this event. So it's me and Christian Ponder up on stage, and of course, to rile up the crowd, I get on the microphone and, all right, everyone, Vikings fans, this is your quarterback for the next 10 years. Let's hear it for Christian Ponder. Yeah, didn't quite last 10 years.
Didn't work out for you?
Didn't quite last. And he is a super nice guy. It was, the most pleasant, like, hour-long interview experience. But, yeah, the dude couldn't quite throw a football the way it needed to be.
I will tell you this. This is an absolute fact as I sat down and looked across the table. And then, of course, he came around and sat right next to me so we could talk. But I don't know if it was his wife, his girlfriend, or whatever, but holy God, the boy can pick out a woman.
Yeah, Sam Ponder's very attractive.
Oh, yeah. So you know Sam?
Yeah, well, she's was an ESPN analyst.
Still is.
Is she still on ESPN?
So she hosts the Sunday pregame show still on ESPN with, like, Randy Moss and all these others. So that's another story real quick. So Sam, when Christian was like, it was very obvious Christian was kind of failing and not playing well. Mm-hmm. And Sam went on a Twitter blocking spree of, I'm pretty sure, so she blocked me on Twitter back in 2013. And I swear to God, I've never said a cross word about Samantha Ponder on Twitter. I've never, so I think what she did was, I'm pretty sure she had like a search open for Christian Ponder, and anyone that criticized her husband, she would block on Twitter. So I have not been able to see Samantha Ponder's tweets in about 10 years. I know I'm missing out on a lot, but she blocked me. Yeah.
All right. I know we got to go, but I should mention that the house at which we were eating dinner, the person who owned that house invited everybody on his private jet to go down to Cabo San Lucas, except for me.
Oh, no.
So I did have
some
to pay
impression you made. Yeah.
Exactly. I just don't think, I think I've always had a problem in Minnesota because even if I tried to kiss ass, it wouldn't come out. I can't do it. I can't go, oh, you're the best. No, you're an asshole.
Tom, when there's a private jet to somewhere tropical on the line, you pucker up and you kiss ass, my man.
Okay. I can't do it. I literally, honest to God, like if I give you a compliment, it's a real compliment. It's not bullshit trying to suck up to you.
Yeah.
I hate that about people. Oh, you're the best. Then, of course, the guy leaves the room. What an asshole that guy is.
This is a game show. We need to put Tom through this where, we got like, all right, here we go now. It's Tom Barnard. We have a private jet to a tropical location and $5 million in spending wherever he wants if he just kisses ass for 10 seconds. Can Tom do it?
I can't. Even if I try, I can't do it. I just cannot do it. When I'm nice to you, it's sincere. That's one thing I can guarantee you. If I'm nice to you, it is sincere. It's not bullshit. I don't need anything from anybody. I got a great life, got a great family. So one thing I can say on the upside of it is that if I give you a compliment or I'm nice to you, it's sincere. That's good, isn't it?
I'm not quite to that point. I still kiss a little ass. And I hopefully someday I won't have to.
Well, I'm a little older than you, so you got some time.
Yeah. See, once you get to that point where you don't have to kiss ass, that's when you know you've made it in life. It's great.
All right, we're going to talk to you on Friday, and looking forward to that as well. We'll see what happens between now and then.
Sounds good. Enjoy the rest of your Black Monday in the National Football League.
Black Monday. I thought it was Black Friday. What happened to Black Friday?
They might still be firing people on Friday too, I guess.
Oh, they might. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thanks, Phil.
See you guys. Yeah.
Have a good day, sir. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple minutes. Chris Egert will join us. K&L Surplus and Ammo is your one-stop shop for all firearms-related products and is a preferred choice among enthusiasts for over 25 years. Why? K&L Surplus and Ammo offers one of the wildest and widest selections of firearms in the region. The big box stores say this, they have a big selection, but that usually just means they have a lot of inventory, not a wide selection of different types of firearms. K&L has a broad selection of different calibers, plus K&L Surplus and Ammo is veteran-owned and offers first responder and veteran discounts. K&L is committed to safety and is a licensed FFL retailer. Find out for yourself why K&L Surplus and Ammo has been the choice of gun owners for over 25 years. Go to www.klgunstore.com. That's klgunstore.com.
Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC has a mutiny on his hands. His sales crew said they've had it brooming snow off the new Buicks and GMCs, then warm them up, move them to plow, and repark them again. He even overheard them cooking up an alternative plan. A sale.
This is crazy. Why don't we just mark them down and sell them?
This is getting real old to be out on that lot in this sub-zero weather.
That's right. Everyone we sell is one less to broom.
I heard we're supposed to get 6 more inches tomorrow.
I'm 5'6". How am I supposed to get the snow off the roof of a pickup?
I'm Jim Paul, and car dealers do have all kinds of crazy sales. This idea probably makes more sense than most. There's plenty of inventory, so okay, the crew has decided.
Yeah! Now we're talking!
So then it's official. The We Don't Want to Broom snow sale is in full force at Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings. Snowy inventory priced real right at valleycardealers.com.
Oh, that was good. I tried to turn my mic on 3 times and missed the button. I'm having a hell of a morning. What do you think of that? In any case, you have all helped support MyPillow. Their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows this, continues to give back to listeners with great deals on his most popular products. Right now, you can save 50% on Queen and King pillows. The original My Slippers, of course, and the MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. The set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, 2 washcloths. Regular price is $79.98, and for a limited time, you can get this 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code Tom. That is a 50% savings. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Tom to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel sets. That is just $39.99 for a set. This deal will not last long. Enter promo code Tom for this special and, of course, many more. Oh, Chris got a job at the post office.
What?
That shirt, isn't that a post office? Isn't it said USPS on it?
It doesn't, but maybe it should.
You got a nice look. That's a nice look, though. You got like is that a kind of a baby blue shirt? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's kind of a blue check with a white collar.
Nice.
Oh, it's a white collar because your collar looks blue too in the picture.
Yeah, I think my light's a litlittle weird in here. Every time I come in here, somebody's messing around with the studio. Don't they know this is the home of my hits for the Tom Barnard podcast?
You know what the hell's wrong with them?
They're all inconsiderate is what the problem is, Tom.
Why doesn't Hannah ever come and say hello to me anymore? Does she hate me now? Is that the plan?
She's been talking.
She's been schmoozing, talking. You know that Barnard. He's doing that deal, is she?
No, I think there's a little bit of snow this morning, and it's actually causing some a few problems on the road. So I think that's what she's probably more concerned with that at the moment.
Chris, I'm not kidding you. I've been looking at the national weather map for the last several weeks. The weather is horrible in the entire United States.
Well, we're about to get the cold back this weekend too, like ridiculously cold. And of course, the East Coast is getting snow right now. So if the East Coast is getting snow, no one has ever seen a snowstorm the likes of the one that is going to hit the East Coast, because that's how the East Coast works, right?
Yeah, no. And look, I'm watching national weather the other day. Miami. They just missed a hurricane a while back, if you remember. Then there was a big tornado this weekend.
I saw that. Yeah.
Big like hurricanes, tornadoes, thunderstorms. Like Jesus, weather's. You usually think of Miami as this. Oh, it's sunny and wonderful. We'll go down to the beach. Not this year, man. It's a little different now.
That's funny you bring that up. I was putting up taking down Christmas lights and all that stuff this weekend, and we had one of those old plastic storage bins from back when we lived in Central Florida, and there was a hurricane drawn on the outside of it with a permanent marker, and it said hurricane supplies. And I'm like, oh yeah, we used to live in frickin' Florida when that was. And then I'm loading up my Christmas lights in there in the cold, and I'm like, yeah, well, the life has taken a couple different turns, hasn't it?
So where did you live in Florida?
We worked, my wife and I both worked in Orlando for 5 years.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. I love Orlando.
Yeah, it's fun.
You probably do get sick of the word Disney, though, don't you?
I believe it would be like living in Las Vegas, where you can either embrace the strip and go down and be part of the strip, or you don't have to go there at all. So for us, we were pre-kids and we had money and we were always having people come to town. So like Orlando was super fun. Would I think it was that fun today in my age? I'm not sure, but.
Okay, you guys, look over my right shoulder. Do you see that Christmas tree that you could see the previous 3-4 weeks?
No.
Nope.
You know why you don't see that Christmas tree over my shoulder that's been there for the last 7 weeks? Because Andy and his family came over, and 2-year-old Ethan thought it'd be a great idea to knock over the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Grabbed it, boom.
So last time that we went to my Justin's parents, my in-laws' house, Pam Cakes, lovely woman.
Pam Cakes, I like it.
Yep. Pam decided to make sure all of her succulents were in reach of this 1.5-year-old.
Oh no.
For the first 1 hour of our hang there, I was just playing like defense and trying to it was chaotic. Like this girl almost ruined at least 4 different clay pot. It was terrible.
Well, I'll tell you though, and in closing, that once again, Catherine's parading around like, oh, I'm such a genius. It's unbelievable. I said, oh, why is that? She bought all unbreakable Christmas bulbs.
Nice.
That is smart.
Yeah, they're all unbreakable, and they were just bouncing along the floor as they fell off the tree.
Kevin McAllister would be pissed.
Yeah.
Can't
He
defend
would.
with those.
Yeah.
He'd be dead. He would be dead.
Just be a dead kid.
Yeah.
Oh well, what the hell? I guess Christmas is officially over. What's over on the 6th usually, isn't it? What's that day called again?
Epiphany.
Epiphany. There you go. I've never had an epiphany. That's why I couldn't recall. But never mind. In any case, moving forward. Yeah, so he actually did tear down the tree a day after the epiphany. So I guess he was right anyway.
Yeah. He had the epiphany. He decided to take it down.
I tell you, it's wonderful to have another 2-year-old around. I love little kids, always have. Got a 7-year-old granddaughter, 5-year-old grandson, and then you got Ethan at 2 years old. I know they get nuts and all the rest of it, but the love they have, because they don't really know humanity yet, so they're not pissed off at the world. I just love that. The innocence, and they're just so happy. I love that. Right?
Well, as a grandparent, you get to sort of reap all the rewards of that love, but you don't really have to get all that into the weeds on the dirty work that has to be done. So
That's true.
It's perfect, right?
That's a very good point, as a matter of fact. But yeah, he loves his bop and Nana. There's no doubt about it. He's very, very smart kid. Oh, Andy's not exactly a dummy, so I guess that works. In any case, what else is happening in the news? Anything good happening in the news?
No.
I love the honest. No, nothing good is happening in the news.
Well, they launched a rocket overnight to the moon, which is kind of interesting, and they're going to put a probe on there, and it's run by private organization, and they're putting 70 people's part of their remains or DNA or something or other up on the moon. People
who leave it on the moon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. From what I know about space, it's best to be light and small, so I can't imagine it's too much of them that's going to the moon, but I guess part of them is there nonetheless. Does that seem appealing to anybody here when you move on to when you cross the Rainbow Bridge to have some of your DNA up on the moon?
Although I will tell you, the one time I talked to O.J. Simpson many, many years ago, long time ago, since he was been in prison, I've not had a lot of conversations with O.J. since then, but I do. And he was totally serious, by the way. What was it? Capricorn 1? Was that the name of the movie he was in, going to the moon or whatever? What was the name? He was in a movie about going to the moon. I remember that.
Not sure.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but Tommy, I got to tell you something. I don't think that bullshit ever happened. We've never been to the moon. I'm like, okay.
One of them.
He's one of those guys. Even though he did a movie about going to the moon, he doesn't think anybody went to the moon.
Hey, he's getting paid. He could care less what the content of the movie was. But
it's exactly right. So
there are a fair amount of people who believe that to this day. And boy, if you ever want to go down the rabbit hole on something, Tevin, I know we talked about flat Earth. Flat Earth is one thing. Faking the moon missions is a whole nother thing. You could spend days on that one.
Yeah, the people that they were in the desert and they used a black and white camera, and they
right,
it's all slow motion and in a warehouse, and they just took really big jumps to make it look like they were floating, and it was wires. It's all
just like that.
Yep.
Well, they might be right, because exactly what you're talking about, Tevin. I did see a Waffle House in the background, so.
Oh man, you know what, Tom? That's the one thing I miss about Florida more than
Waffle
anything.
House.
Waffle House.
Did you hear what one guy did about 2 years ago? If I remember, this is a true story. He went to a Waffle House. I think it was in Orlando too, if I remember correctly. And he didn't like the service and he didn't like the food. So he decided for about the next 2, 3, 4 weeks that he would drive by and shoot out the W on all their signs. So it just said Awful House.
That seems like an Orlando thing to have happen.
It does, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
They turned them all into awful houses. I told you my very first Waffle House experience, I think, didn't I, when I moved to Jacksonville, Florida?
I'm not sure I remember. Let's hear it again.
I'm a very young boy back then. I was, I think, 21, something like that, 21 years old. Moved to Jacksonville, Florida. And, I couldn't really sleep because I'm new in town. So I'm just driving around town trying to figure out, you know, what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go. Oh, I've heard these Waffle Houses are great. So I pull into the Waffle House. They used to be, I don't know if they're still open 24 hours a day, but they used to be, some of them. And I walk in and there are two women sitting in a booth and they both have huge curlers in their hair, like gigantic curlers. And I'm looking at them and they're talking back and forth about this. And then a third woman, also wearing curlers in her hair, came in, walked up to their table, looked at the woman on her left and said, I heard you called my daughter a bitch, and punched her in the face.
Oh, sweet.
Where am I?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, Florida, baby.
That tracks.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? You learn Jacksonville. Well, I thought the other great Jacksonville story, and I'll get off the pulpit here, but I went to my first movie, which was Shaft in Africa.
Oh,
you guys are too young to remember the Shaft movies, I'm sure.
I know.
But Shaft in Africa was the movie showing at the Jacksonville Theater in downtown Jacksonville, which is an island, by the way. There are four separate, different color bridges heading out, 4 or 5, I think there are 4, that head out to the island. I go into the movie, and the movie had already started. I sit down, and as I leave, I realize I'm the only white person in there. And a guy comes up and he goes, man, are you from out of town? I said, yeah, I just got into town. He goes, I could tell, man. Don't ever come back here. Oh, okay. All right.
So we'll give you a pass this one time.
He did. Oh, yeah. He gave me 100% pass. He's like, you're from out of town. You're dumb. You don't know what the hell you're doing.
Told him you were Catman. He would have sat right down.
And because I still was Catman then.
See?
In Jacksonville. Yep. Absolutely true. I've had some, because of this business, I've had some magnificent experiences. That's all I have to say. You know, when you go from like New York City, Chicago, Jacksonville, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, I mean, those are different cities to be living in.
Yeah.
If you go from New York City to, let's say, Grand Forks, there are a lot of differences in those two towns. I will say.
There's a couple differences. Yeah.
Yeah.
No question. But they set me up to interview. I think I did mention this to you before. They set me up to do an interview with a guy who owned a potato farm up in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And I'm like, oh, God, I got to interview a farmer. He's probably some dumbass hick. This is going to be horrible. Pulls up in a brand new Rolls Royce. And I'm like, well.
Yep. There's money in them near fields.
Oh, lots and lots of money. No doubt about it. All right. So we got like 1 minute left. Is there one story that you really need to get to?
Yeah. Speaking in North Dakota, a bunch of miners found a giant mammoth tusk.
Really?
As they were sorting through some material. Yes. Workers spotted a 7-foot-long tusk.
Oh, man.
This was about, let's see, Freedom Mine, about an hour northwest of Bismarck. Experts believe it's around 100,000 years old.
100,000.
They found a bunch of other mammoth parts too while they were there. So that was kind of cool. Can you imagine that?
No, I can't.
And that's another thing when it gets back to the AJ, can you imagine digging up a mammoth tusk at work? But it goes back to the other thing we were talking about earlier with the moon landing thing. There's a lot of people who could look at that tusk and say, well, that's
planted.
Not real. It's not.
They planted it.
Yeah. I don't.
Why wouldn't it disintegrate over 100,000 years or whatever?
I'm not sure. It must have been preserved the right way or something or other.
It had to have been sealed off from the elements, because otherwise it would have just disintegrated, wouldn't it? I would think. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know.
There are a lot of fossils in the central and then western parts of South Dakota and North Dakota. There's all kinds of fossils which is really, really, really cool. But if you ever want to watch a really good documentary on Netflix, I think it was Dinosaur. Just look up Dinosaur. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was about this skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yes.
Sue. Wasn't it Sue the T-Rex?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
now it's in Chicago.
At the Field Museum. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a whole debate about where the dinosaur was found, who owns the dinosaur. It was actually enthralling, Tom.
Huh. Cause didn't they raid some small, like, was it a North Dakota, South Dakota town or something like that?
South Dakota. Yeah. Yep. It's in Hill City. The museum is still there. It's an interesting, if you're ever looking, Tommy, if you're looking for a little dinosaur viewing, I suggest that.
Going to North and South Dakota?
No, going to Netflix and watching a movie about this dinosaur. It's good.
Netflix.
Trust me.
Okay, well, I'd love to watch that. That stuff fascinates me because we're talking 100,000 years. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, sometimes this show seems that long, but
I will say we had that mammoth story on the news this morning, and I resisted every part of my being wanted to make a fossil joke about Barlow and refer to his age, but I did not. I took the high road.
You're better, man.
I did not say anything.
Wasn't it just his birthday? Didn't he just have a birthday a few weeks ago?
I think his birthday's in April, but I don't remember.
Oh,
I only
I thought
worked with him
somebody
for 10 years. We've only been stuck in the same dark room in the early morning for the last 10 years. I don't know what his birthday is.
He's a nice guy, by the way. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he's always been very pleasant.
He's great. Love to have him around.
Indeed. All right, Mr. Chrissy.
Enjoy the rest of your day, you guys.
You too. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Bye.
That's Chris Egert, ladies and gentlemen. Channel 5's Chris Egert is brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. Chris Egert brought to you, I should say again, Channel 5's Chris Egert brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple of minutes. Some other Hunyuk. Was it some like Italian guy or something's coming on, isn't he?
Not if we vote him out. I think we should all take a vote.
It's not too late.
Oh, the line doesn't work. I don't know what it is.
It's a bad connection.
We're going through a tunnel, Bob.
You know what's interesting about that? Let's say it was true. We went through a tunnel and the lines all went dead. He talked so loud we could still hear him anyway.
He doesn't even need a mic. You're very right.
He does not. Hey, Tom! It's like, settle down. I'm right next to you. You don't have to scream at me. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back with Bob Sansevere, ladies and gentlemen. You know the song Kokomo. It's supposed to be off the Florida Keys, right? Well, I hate to break your Beach Boys bubble, but that's a fictitious place they made up for the song. Fortunately for the rest of it, the Florida Keys island chain are as real as the taxes you have to pay in Minnesota if you're a resident. Now, that's a reason to move south. In addition to Florida and all of Monroe County being beautiful, the Keys from Key Largo to Key West are even more beautiful. This is Tom Barnard, part-time Florida resident myself. And if you want a second house or a new retirement home or want to become a Floridian, may I suggest you contact Matt Carlson from One Key West Realty. Matt grew up in Litchfield, and he's a super real estate agent. When it comes to finding your tropical island space in the Keys, he lives there and here, and Matt knows what's best in Key West to buy for your second home in Florida. Matt teamed up with fellow Minnesotan from Sartell and Alexandria, Kristen Eklund, who's one of the top mortgage brokers in the country from Coast to Coast Mortgage. She'll get you the financing you need to buy a home in Florida or in Minnesota. Matt's part of the Lake Sotheby's International Realty Group here in Minnesota, and Kristen, his mortgage colleague, lives and works in the Keys, so they both know the Florida Keys' new and existing homes for sale and are Minnesotan through and through. Contact them by heading to onekeywest.com. That is onekeywest.com. Tom here, and I want to discuss a partnership that has been wonderful in my life, Zero Res Carpet Care. Very good friends of mine. Nothing is better to someone with a family than having a completely clean home. Your carpet is the biggest filter in your house. If you want to talk about pet dander or foot traffic, dirt from the outside, they all eventually reside in your carpet. So, Zero Res Carpet Care. Listen, around the holidays, you need to contact ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZEROREZ. That's 952-ZERO-RES. They clean your home with their electrolyzed pH-elevated water that doesn't use chemicals or soaps that smell like a janitor's closet like other cleaning services. How about a Tom Barnard deal? Well, here it is. Get 3 rooms, zero resified, starting at $129, and don't forget your air ducts. Mention me, and they'll discount your air vents by $75 too. This is for the entire month, so call them right now, 952-0-RES, backward or forwarded, spells the same, or book online, ZeroResMinnesota.com. If it's available, ask for them to come to your place in the Tom Barnard named service truck. What an honor that was, by the way. Just mention me by name and get the special deal to get your home clean and your heart happy. Zero Res Carpet Care.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, joined by Bob Sansevier. Bob Sansevier Sports is brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyers seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. That's minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Sandy. What do we got? 7-10 this year. Is that the plan?
7-10. Losers of 6 of their last 7 and the final 4 in a row. And as we talked, I mentioned it last week, at this time of the year, teams should be getting better. This team went in the tank and got worse, and I don't want to hear, they lost quarterback. Other teams lose quarterbacks. I'm sick of hearing that. And this, they got another year. Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. Arthur Smith just got fired in Atlanta. What have these guys really done? Kwesi's done 2 things that are noteworthy, that were good. He made the deal for TJ Hawkinson, and he drafted Jordan Addison. And drafting Jordan Addison was a no-brainer when he did it, because he was the best player there. And now they got the 11th pick, and they better not screw it up. I happen to think if they're smart, they will wind up getting you'll be seeing the 2 quarterbacks that they could be choosing from tonight in the national championship game. J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix Jr.
And who would you go with?
Well, I've always liked McCarthy, but the way Penix played in that last semifinal, McCarthy fits into what O'Connell wants. He is pretty much a drop-back quarterback because O'Connell has shown us he can't adjust to the talent he has at quarterback, because he did not adjust when they had the Pastronaut, playing at quarterback. He would not adjust to his skill set. He had to make him a pocket passer, and he isn't a pocket passer.
Bob, do you think I'm too harsh? Because I think they should just get rid of everybody.
Tom, I said this on my show, and I'm not saying they have to do this, but no one would blame the Wilfs if after tonight's championship game, they put a call in to Jim Harbaugh's people or his agent and said, would you still take this job? And if he said yes, I don't think it'd be an easy decision for them. I think they should think about it, because he would come in here. His track record is to turn programs around.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin O'Connell doesn't have a track record. No. He was the offensive coordinator for the Rams and didn't call the plays. Yet he came here and decided not only would he take on being the head coach, he's also going to call the plays from the sideline, when a lot of coordinators are up in the booth or the people calling the play.
Right.
And that's not, there are head coaches who call from the sidelines. No, there's no doubt about it. Andy Reid does it. Mike McDaniel basically is almost about as new as O'Connell, and he does a wonderful job with it. But both of them have the advantage of talent. And that's a big part of it, because you'd put Mike McDaniel on a team that doesn't have Tyreek Hill, and he's not as good a play caller. Same thing with O'Connell. He lost his quarterback and lost his, Justin Jefferson for a number of weeks, and he was not as good a play caller. To me, the thing that stands out, and it's isolated, but any head coach that would go for a tush push 2 plays in a row and have Brandon Powell pushing, that to me is, it's bells go off when you think about that. How could he even think for a nanosecond that would work, or that was the right thing to do?
Right.
That's alarming to me.
No, I agree with you, Bob. I just, it does look like Harbaugh might end up, though, in Los Angeles with the Chargers.
Vegas, yeah. You mean with the Chargers or the Raiders? Apparently, the team he'd like to go to.
Right.
But they should keep the guy they've got. Antonio Pierce has done a really nice job.
Yeah.
For him, though, to go into a situation with Justin Herbert, that is the best situation out there of the teams that are available, because you got a quarterback who could take it to a Super Bowl. None of the other teams that are available have a quarterback that they're set with. So
yeah, I could see that happening. Do you think we'll ever get a good head coach again? And we haven't done any great job so far, so why should it get any better?
Well, I mean, you have to look at the ownership and the people making those decisions.
I know. And have they made any right decisions since they bought this team?
Not great ones.
No, they have
I mean,
not.
Childress was not. Was that a great decision? No. I mean, he was all right, but I mean, and then they go for the veteran defensive coordinator. Was that the right decision? No. Now they go for the young guy, O'Connell. No.
My favorite Childress story.
What's that?
He comes to town, and I don't remember where the hell he was or whatever, but he had valet parking. So he comes out after dinner, and the kid drives up, and what's his name? Childress.
Yeah.
Says to the guy, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I screwed up. I won't be able to give you a tip because the smallest bill I got is a 20." And the kid goes, Excuse me, everyone. Does anyone have change for a $20 bill? I know it's a lot of money. He just shoved it right up Childress's butt. I guess it was. I wasn't there, but I wish I would have been. Isn't that magnificent?
Okay, for most people, 20 would be a heck of a tip, but he was a millionaire. He's
a millionaire.
Jesus.
The greatest ever. Does anybody have change for a 20?
Coach still just needs your help.
He needs your help. He's only making $4 or $5 million a year. He can't afford to break a 20.
You know what he could have done too? He could have said, "Hey, tell you what, call my office. Here's the number. I'll get you tickets to Sunday's game as a tip." That would be easy for him. It wouldn't cost him anything.
Yep. Didn't happen though. What are you going to do?
There's a lot of
what are you gonna do?
Coaches that are a little, cheap.
So, Sandy, what do you think the Vikings are going to do? The team sucks. I'm sorry. The team is last year they were pretty good, but never got it done when the time came. The important games they didn't win. This year they were just horrendous. And I know they lost their starting quarterback, but I was never a big fan of his anyway. He's okay.
But when you look at what they had, here's the biggest problem I think that they had at quarterback. They thought Nick Mullins could fill in. Now, he'll put up numbers, but and you knew yesterday, okay, the interception is coming at a key time, and it did. He's going to throw interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
And that's problematic. He didn't have a good backup.
I did not watch the game yesterday, but somebody told me during the game they were about to praise the coach the quarterback, because he had no interceptions.
Exactly.
As he was praising him, he got intercepted.
Yes. And what's funny is it happened in the Dallas game. They were talking about the kicker for Dallas, Brandon Aubrey. He's 35 for 35, 9 over 50. Got his field goal was blocked. It is uncanny when they praise somebody, things go Aubrey.
They go Aubrey, baby.
How that happens. But this team, with the 11th pick, I'd like to say with the 11th pick, they'll get a quarterback and they'll get one of the, they're going to wind up, I think, with Penix or McCarthy. But I don't trust this. He might even trade out of the pick and go the other direction.
He might.
Because he did it the first year.
Yep.
And here's the other problem. A lot of people, they got to go up and get Jaden Daniels. Phenomenal quarterback in college and probably in the pros, except he's not a drop back quarterback. He is a running quarterback, and your coach can't use a running quarterback because he won't adapt his system to one. So he would not be a good pick for these guys. And again, if he was the coach of the Vikings when Fran Tarkin was the quarterback, every film session, you got to stop scrambling, Fran. I need you to stay in the pocket. But that's the type of guy he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No
Dobbs could have been fine if he adapted to what Dobbs could do. And the reason Dobbs had all his success early is he didn't know the playbook and he couldn't force him into the drop.
Right. No, that makes total sense, Bob. So, I mean, we're in a situation now, and I brought this up earlier with Phil Mackey. You got to congratulate the Minnesota men's basketball team. I didn't see it coming, but Ben Johnson doing a hell of a job, don't you think?
Well, I mean, they beat Michigan right on the road, and again, it's been in mostly a non-conference schedule. But he surprised me because I was saying when they hired him, he needs to be an assistant for a few years. Well, maybe he's actually grown into this job and he's ready to be a Big Ten coach. So, I mean, we've become now, AJ, brace yourself. We've gone from being the land of hockey to the land of basketball, because you got the Timberwolves still, they're not doing, they've had a little bit of a slide, but they're still leading the Western Conference. Both the two D1 schools in the state, the Gophers and St. Thomas, riding 6-game winning streaks. And St. John's is kicking ass in the MIAC. They haven't lost a conference game.
Right.
So there's good basketball here now. And hockey,
See, I'd say there's room for two. I'd say there's room for two.
I bet you do.
PWHL Minnesota improved to 2-0 on the weekend. They set the record for the most attendance at a live women's hockey game in the world this past Saturday. I was there, not to brag. It was a fun experience. And it was announced late last week that the World Junior Championships are coming in 2026. Hockey hotbeds, Minnesota. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Minnesota's always had good women's hockey teams.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That continues. And Natalie Darwitz, by the way, she's basically running that program. She's terrific. Tom, I don't know if you've ever had her on a show, but she really is. She was a great player, and she's a great person too. Because I started covering her when she was in 8th grade, leading her high school team to state championships. And I think the world of Natalie, and she's going to do a great job with that program.
I just love the fact. So, what was the year again when they had to get rid of Haskins because of the cheating scandal? What year was that?
Still in the 90s. Right?
You're talking like 30, 35 years since this team's been any good. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part. What's the year exactly, AJ? Was it in the 2000s or was it late 90s? 97?
97.
97, yeah. 27
years of horrible basketball. I mean, how does that even happen, Bob?
It's the same problem, Tom, that's going to come up with the football team. This football team, in not just our life, you have how many grandchildren?
3.
You have 3 grandchildren, and the youngest is what, 2 years old?
2, yep.
Okay. Your grandchild's grandchildren may not see the Gopher football team ever win the Big Ten, or rarely have a winning record in the Big Ten because of the addition now of Washington and Oregon and USC and UCLA. I mean, you're just adding to the Ohio states and Michigan State, Michigan, and I mean, Penn State generally is that they may be a little down, but I just named 7 teams that are going to be better than the Gophers perennially. And then Nebraska could maybe have a bounce back, or Iowa. I mean, Wisconsin. They'll be in the second half of the Big Ten every year. There's nothing that's going to change that. I mean, that's the basketball team. It's been like that for quite a long. I thought Munson might be able to turn things around here. He obviously didn't.
Did he have success anywhere else, Munson?
Gonzaga. That's how he got the job.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
because he beat the Gophers that year.
That's right.
That they had the scandal and a bunch of players were benched, and that suddenly he actually is the coach, not Mark Few. It was really Munson who put Gonzaga on the map, because after they beat the Gophers, they had a little bit of a run, and he became a hot commodity.
So, Bob, our baseball team is not going to be very good because they haven't gone after anybody. My Twins are not going to be very good for the next few years. Would you think?
No, I don't think so.
No. The Vikings had a horrible year, not just a bad year, but a horrible year. You got some basketball going, like you said, both at the college and professional level, which is nice to see. But all the wonderful teams from when I was, first got back to town in 86, I guess it was, sports were going pretty well here, but not anymore.
No. And you know what? Here's the part of what they should do is, if I'm Wilf, I'm telling Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, you get into a room with Rob Brzezinski, their capologist, who is as good as anyone in the league at handling the cap, and he tells you how we're going to get Justin Jefferson signed, Christian Darrisaw, and how do we keep Daniil Hunter, and do we have the money to keep Kirk Cousins for a year or two, because whoever you draft, he should sit. Look at Jordan Love. He sat several years. I didn't think he was at any good at all when he came out of college, and he wasn't ready. Had he been thrown into a starting role, he would have failed. He needed time to learn the NFL. Any young quarterback needs time. CJ Stroud he is absolutely the exception to it. I mean, Bryce Young, you go back, there were teams that wanted him And now they're like shy. Oh, look at CJ Stroud. He's great. They wanted Bryce Young. He got thrown to the wolves in this first year. It's worked for Stroud, but that absolutely is not the norm for a rookie quarterback. Troy Aikman, Hall of Famer, 1 win his rookie year. Peyton Manning had 20 plus interceptions his rookie year. Some of these guys, they have to have a chance to learn the game and not be caught in. And I think that's why, Aaron Rodgers had to sit a few years behind Favre, and it helps these guys. So if they can figure out to keep Cousins for a year or two, do it.
So, Bob, I got to add, because I know you're an expert at this kind of thing. Who's telling the truth? Jimmy Kimmel or not?
Well, did Kimmel come? I didn't see his name because I was looking for his name when they released the big names. Was he on that list, or was
I didn't see it? But Aaron Rodgers claims that he was having sex with underage girls. I mean, it's like, man.
Well, Aaron Rodgers was also. Remember the way he plays with words?
Yes.
That he was inoculated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just not with the COVID vaccine. Whatever he was inoculated with.
Immunized.
Oh, that's right. Inoculated would mean he took the shot. He immunized himself with some, I don't know what pill it was.
He like drank some herbal tea or something, and that gave him, the immunization is what he was saying. Yeah.
Boy, did you see that stat came out over the weekend? They're going to have some trouble with this one. I can't remember the news organization, but they absolutely guarantee that at least 17,000 people died of getting inoculated or immunized, however you want to put it.
Well,
17,000 people, they claim. And that was a big story.
And there's also the story about the hydroxychloroquine that killed people.
Yes.
I mean, it's, you know what? It was COVID. That killed people, and the things we tried to do killed people.
I know. It's unfortunate, but let's stay away from that kind of thing from now on, shall we? Let's keep all the diseases elsewhere.
Load up on your vitamin C. I don't know anyone who's died of vitamin C poisoning.
It's a very good point.
Have they? Maybe. Who knows?
I'll check.
If they're allergic. Yeah. Yeah. AJ's going to check and make sure.
He's quick, though. When he spins, within nanoseconds, this guy's coming up with the answer to things. And by the way, I wanted to mention, it'll come out in the next few weeks. Joe Mauer is on the Hall of Fame ballot. I still have I'm one of the several hundred who still vote. I did vote for Joe Mauer to go into the Hall of Fame because I think his 3 batting titles and the MVP, he was his generation's best catcher. And then he had the concussions and had to move to first base. I have no question. And I voted you could vote for 10. I voted for 9. And I put it on social media, and a lot of people were probably a lot of Braves fans. Yeah, how could you not put on Andrew Jones? Well, I explained. Andrew Jones, if he went into the Hall of Fame, would have the second worst batting average in the Hall of Fame at 254 career.
Really?
The only guy worse, was a guy named Ray Schock, who played in the half his career was in the dead ball era. He batted 253 and had a better on-base percentage than Andrew Jones.
So when will we find out if he gets in or not?
I think it's the 20th. It's somewhere in the early, like the 24th.
I think it's the 23rd.
The 23rd.
Right in that range.
You guys both think he's going to get in?
I do now because the Athletic ran a story where they had like the first 122 ballots, and mine may have been one because there's a box you can check to let your ballot become, open to the public or available. Mm-hmm. And it had to be in by the 1st, and mine was in, well before like the 15th or 20th. But of the 122 ballots, and that's maybe a third or fourth of the ballots, he was on 82% of the ballots, and you have to be on 75%. That's really good for him. Mm-hmm. It's indicative of how everyone is voting.
Well, the guy was a great player.
Get in. Yes, he'll get in. If he doesn't get in this year, I think he will. He will get in over the next few years. He's not going to be a guy who the 10-year cycle goes through and he never gets in. I think he'll get in on this. He and Adrian Beltre, I think, will get in on the first ballot.
That'll be good for Minnesota, obviously. No question.
Yeah, I mean, it is deserving. And, he did have he was a guy who showed a lot of class. It's unfortunate what happened to him. But even after the injury, he still could hit the ball. You couldn't take that away from him.
Did they make up bilateral leg weakness? Is that something they just made up?
No, I think he probably had it.
But I mean, is that a real thing?
Yeah. AJ. No, it is.
I mean, it just means
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a fancy way of saying literally your legs hurt. Both legs hurt.
You're sore.
Yeah. Like it's a thing, but it's a very fancy way of saying, ouchie, my legs.
Well, take some Tylenol. That'll knock it right out and you're good to go again, right?
Yeah, you get a little cramping, a little sore. Hey, you run, you get sore.
Yeah, I suppose it's true. But no, I hope he does get in the first ballot because I never met him, never talked to him, any of the rest of it. He's not real outgoing kind of guy, is he?
No, but the first time I ever interviewed him and covered him is I went to Cretan-Derham Hall where he played when he was trying to figure out if he was going to sign with the Twins or go play football at Florida State. He was working out on a football field, and it was just him out there with like a receiver. And I liked him then, but he wasn't outgoing. He was not gregarious.
No.
But he didn't have to be. That was not his personality.
No,
So,
I heard his brother got like a Chevy dealership or something, doesn't he?
Yeah, Maurer Chev.
Yeah. I heard he's outgoing. I heard I've never met him. I heard he's a good guy.
His dad, who sadly passed away not that long ago, he was very outgoing, and Joe just wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he didn't have to be because he could play.
That's exactly right. Sandy, another brilliant report.
Uh-oh. So does this one you tell me we don't need you to report anymore?
Well, we're gonna wrap it up. What's the date today? January 8th. You'll be with me for the rest of my career, which might end this week anyway, but you never.
All right.
So thank you, Sandy.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Great report, ladies and gentlemen. The Bob Sands for Sports is brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant Personal Injury Lawyers. Seeking justice for the injured, contact Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. That is MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Bob Sands for Sports, sponsored by Bradshaw and Bryant Personal Injury Lawyers. All right, we got a couple of minutes, or 1 minute anyway. Any big sports news you want to close with? Because we only got 60 seconds.
I'll share. I was talking to Pat Royce over at the Hubbard offices, and he was kind of sharing his view of the Joe Mauer. Will he get in? Will he won't?
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that all of the leaked ballots, not leaked, I guess, but shared public ballots are what a lot of the younger writers are doing. But he said that the trend is that a lot of the older guys who are a little more Grinch, and maybe a little grouchy, a little more sticklers on who gets in and who doesn't. They keep theirs anonymous, and usually you'll hear about them much later. So even though Joe has now jumped out to, it looks like he's going to, he's anticipating it's going to come down to the wire. It's
really,
he's not expecting the same amount of the volume of votes later in the reveal process.
Is this Mauer's first year of?
Yeah.
So I doubt he'll get in because there's a lot of guys that go, well, nobody should get in on their first ballot because such and such didn't. So I assume he would get in eventually, but
I think it's no doubt eventually.
But
it'll be close. If it's not this year, I think it's next because I can see some guys thinking well, he never did anything in the playoffs and all this stuff. But Adrian Beltre, I think will and deserves to be a first ballot guy. So. He'll be the one guarantee, but if Joe gets in, fantastic, great for Minnesota sports, great for the Twins.
Because wasn't it Ken Griffey Jr. that there was one reporter that didn't vote for him to get in, or
and I was
that?
There was Derek Jeter the other year too. That one Boston writer was he's not getting in. He's a terrible fielder.
So that's interesting. You guys brought that up because I was just going to ask you: is there anyone that should have gotten all of the votes that ever got all of the votes? Has it ever happened?
Let me. You ever heard of Babe Ruth?
So he's the only one, really?
No, Babe Ruth was not a unanimous selection for the.
No,
he got in on the first ballot, not a unanimous selection.
Yeah, and so then now there's guys where if somebody hit a home run every time they stepped up to the plate, never struck out their entire career, they'd be like, well, Babe Ruth didn't get in unanimously, so I can't be the guy that allows this to happen. So
and that was the Jeter logic too for that one guy. Is well, he wasn't as good as Babe Ruth, and Babe Ruth didn't get in unanimously, so I'm going to leave him off. And everybody's like, he has 99.9% of the votes. You idiot, you moron.
Did Babe Ruth not get? I got to believe the guy from Boston didn't put him on the put him in the Hall of Fame, because didn't he leave Boston to go to the New York Yankees? He was with Boston for a while, wasn't he? Babe Ruth?
Yes, he started his career with Boston, and they sold him to the Yankees for $30,000 or something like that.
which back then was a fortune, by the way.
Yeah, right.
It's
I mean, I remember reading stories about him making $100,000 a year, and people thought, "Oh my God," because everybody else was making like 6,000-7,000 a year. He's making $100,000. It's like, man.
And then to answer your question, there's one player that has ever gotten 100% ballots put in his name. Can you guess?
God, who would that be?
Cal Ripken.
I'll give you a hint.
Roberto Clemente.
I'll give you a hint. It's a Yankee.
Well, it wasn't Roberto Clemente. Damn it.
Who was the closer that they had?
The
Mariano
Sandman,
Rivera.
Mariano Rivera, 425 out of 425.
Really?
2019, the only player to ever be a unanimous selection.
He might be the most likable. Like, you never heard anything bad, at least here being a casual fan. Like, you never heard anything bad about him. Everybody seemed to love him. He was like the guy that came in at the end. We're always going to win the game when he comes in. Like, everybody's happy. Very nice guy. Very likable.
I'd love to know who the 3 people were that didn't vote for Ken Griffey Jr. in 2016. Like, you need to get your voting rights taken away, and not just for the ballot. No,
but that's a personal thing, isn't it? That's not about baseball. That's a personal thing, isn't it? When that happens.
Yeah, I feel like it's like you had one bad interview, and that guy, it stuck with him for 40 years, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna get him now. I get the last laugh. All right,
honest to God, I don't know. Like I said, it just. Yeah, Rivera, that does make sense, by the way, because he was untouchable. He was literally untouchable. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Death, Taxes, and Mariano Rivera. That was
you heard Metallica. Lights dim, you hear Metallica, enter Sandman.
Yep.
Might as well just start packing it up for the night.
That's it. All right, we should probably take a break. We'll be right back. The show continues right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. Listen live at tombernardshow.com or on the Tom Barnard Show app.
You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, legal issues, banking, and more. The same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust, who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you, Josh Arnold. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That is 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did. And tell him his guy, Tom, sent you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
Hello, I'm Brad Huckle, President and Chief Lending Officer at North American Banking Company.
And I'm Michael Bilski, CEO at North American Banking Company.
As a locally owned and operated community bank, we work with many multi-generational businesses.
Take Personal Care Dentistry of Roseville, for example. Dr. Walter Hunt, also known as Painless to me, has been a longtime customer of the bank since we opened the bank in 1998.
When his son Kyle was ready to join the practice, they wanted to expand quickly.
With their additional space and equipment, they now are able to see more patients each day while providing the same level of care and service.
Okay, guys, I'll take it from here. If you run a family business or any kind of business for that matter, you should be banking with Brad and Mike over at North American Banking Company. Every time I deal with them or their team, I know I'm working with experienced professional bankers. So why not bank with my banker? North American Banking Company, a better banking experience, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is Bob Sansevier, and I want to tell you about Dave Bialki from Bialki Law. Dave represented my wife, Mary, when she had a significant workplace injury. She was very happy with the job Dave did. If you have a work-related injury and have Dave represent you, I'm betting you'll be happy too. Dave is a down-to-earth guy. He grew up in northern Minnesota, rides a Harley, and worked various jobs doing concrete, electrical, plumbing, roofing, and carpentry work. Dave works for people with work-related injuries. If you work construction, or anywhere for that matter, and you're hurt or even just hurting, you should talk to Dave. Let's face it, our bodies wear out. If your body is worn out from work, if your knees or back or shoulders hurt from things you do at work, do what Mary did. Call Dave and talk to him about it at Bialki Law to set up a free initial consultation. The number to call is 763-571-2410. That's 763-571-2410. Or visit bialkilaw.com. That's BIALKE law.com.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness, time is flying. 10 predictions about 2024. Do you have any predictions about 2024? We're only 8 days in. Any predictions?
I like to do like a couple very obscure ones, like at the end of every year, that are like, if I get it right, I can be like, I'm a genius. They're so outlandish that when they inevitably don't get picked up, nobody's going to be like, okay, like look at this guy. He was just trying to be bold.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Okay, I'll give you the 10. These are the 10 predictions about 2024, but these are from 100 years ago. Will they hold up?
Ooh, I'm going to say at least one of them has to be plausible.
Yeah, right? Because it's got to
Yeah.
be something noteworthy, right? So something
I
got
would
to hit.
think.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at them yet. We're gonna learn about these at the same time because I haven't looked at them yet. Oh my God! I just saw one of the headlines that's a little frightening in today's world. Number 6. When we get to number 6, it ain't going to be pretty. Number 10. Everyone would be flying to work. Well, remember the Jetsons? They when the Jetsons came on the air, they thought, "Oh my God, we'll be doing that within 10 years." Well, that was what, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Back to the Future, they had theirs where everybody had flying cars and stuff. Yeah.
Wasn't that a DeLorean?
Yeah. And what do you think about, like, I got down this kind of rabbit hole the other day, like think about flying cars. There's no way that could ever happen because there's no roads. Like everybody should be flying into each other.
Yeah.
Just dog fights on the way to work.
Right. And there would be so many, like somebody got in an argument. And so instead of, killing somebody, they flew their car into some skyscraper because they were drunk. Like it would be a disaster. We are not responsible enough as a society for flying cars. Sorry.
Although I do love the Jetsons in the fact that one time George was driving and there was a stop sign in a cloud.
That's great. That's so great.
I thought that was great. Yeah, everyone would be flying to work. A real estate mogul in New York said the airplane was still in its infancy, but eventually we'd all be using them. Quote, "It will be the everyday occurrence for a business person to fly home to the office and then back home again. To fly from home to the office and then back home again." So I was trying to read that while Jude was barking at me.
Jude agreed with you very passionately. That
Oh,
was
you
gonna happen.
bastard.
I'd say that's
Jude
like
loves
almost vaguely accurate though, because there are a lot of people that they fly daily. And obviously it's not like from their house to the office, but the amount of people that go to an airport on a daily basis to fly, they go to Chicago to do a meeting, then they'll come back and blah, blah, blah. Like people travel like that often enough where it's like kind of accurate.
No, that's true. Number 9, cities would be totally rebuilt around cars. I don't know what that means. The 1920s, or when cars really started taking off in 1924, a Swedish architect wrote, "In a city of 100 years from now, I see 3-deck roads, speedways through the heart of the town, and skyscrapers with entrances for automobiles as high as 15 stories. Well, I suppose you could just drive, if there was a parking lot there, you could just drive there 15 stories up and park.
Yeah, it's not super wrong.
No. And a triple-decker road, that sounds awesome. Like if there was just one that went over the city that I don't have to go through and weave, yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
I agree with you. I think it sounds great. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but number 8, a limit to the number of kids you could have. Oh, that's kind of what they're doing now, isn't it? They're kind of doing that. It's like, oh, you're having all these kids, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, and isn't right as of right now, the US birth rate is down. Like so I don't know if but I know that's always been like a go-to of people when they're talking about overpopulation. But as of now, I think that they would have to do that.
They did it in China, like 50 years ago, didn't they?
Yeah, and there is so much documents about how that, how hugely that affected the crime rate and everything. And it's crazy.
It is, ladies and gentlemen, limit the number of kids you could have. A Department of Agriculture official predicted we wouldn't have enough food to go around, so births would have to be limited to in some manner. They have to be limited births in some manners by 2024, by this year. Do you think they'll ever? Because Catherine and I decided we were going to have 2 children. We got lucky and had a boy and a girl, and it all worked out and all the rest of it. But even before we started thinking about having children, thought, well, just replacing ourselves would be enough. Right?
Yeah, I think naturally it happened anyways, just because people my age are having kids later. You're not having as many when you're starting in your 30s or 35. Jobs are not kind of allowing. I think people are more family planning than ever, because also there is the option to have contraceptives and plan when you're going to have a kid.
Okay, now this next one's really interesting. Women would be in charge and men would be raising the children. Why would they think that? I could see how women and men would be shoulder to shoulder in both.
Yeah.
Why would they think that all of a sudden women and men would change places 100%? That's a big change.
Yeah. Well, this was what, 1920?
1924. Yep.
Yeah. So they probably were like, well, this is the way it is now, where one person has to stay home and one person works.
Yeah. They didn't have that.
They didn't have like maybe that forethought of, maybe everybody will be equal and we'll have a stranger come watch our kids and babysit while we're at work.
But didn't they kind of look down on women more in 1924 than they do now?
No, I think they didn't. It's hard to imagine them thinking that women could be in the workforce as fully, just because they had all these theories about the way that women's brains works and stuff. So I guess even predicting that women would be in the workforce as much was pretty advantageous.
That is true. In a letter to the New York Daily News, a guy said women will occupy all the highest positions and men will do just physical labor or stay at home to, quote, wait on the babies or mind the pets. Yeah, I'm sorry. There was a guy just kissing his wife's ass who wrote that. That has nothing to do with reality. He just kissed ass. Don't you think?
Probably nothing to do with it.
It means you're interesting to hear his perspective. I don't, but I think Tevin is onto something, that like he was in the mindset that only one person could work.
Oh, you just opened the door and came in. But, other than that, I guess, I don't know. I see, once again, I would thought, well, everybody being on an equal base. Is it impossible for people to conceive that we should all be on the same level? Is that impossible for people? It's men are in charge now, but then 100 years from now, all the women will be in charge. Like, why can't we be shoulder to shoulder? Why don't people like that idea?
My mom always said it'll never be even.
Right. Yeah.
And it's true. Like, it'll never be. It's not like me and Justin we both work. There's no way we can split 50-50. And I think right now, I think it's hard to imagine. It's a hard dynamic to balance, because I feel like a lot of times there are women that do kind of both, have as their foot in both worlds, like maintaining the house and going to work. And but it's hard. It's interesting to hear that this person thought that the roles would completely flip, like,
you're right,
as if that would be something that was like thoughtfully done. Like, okay, now it's our time to go to work, and
just every other year it flips up.
It's like changing presidencies.
All right, 2024, honey, you have a great day. I'll clean up around the house.
It is rather interesting that a woman has never even been considered to be president of the United States. They've been talking about that since I was a little kid, I remember.
Yeah.
But it hasn't even come close.
That is a very depressing thing, because I think we tell little girls you can be anything you want, but we don't always show them that. And that was kind of the whole premise of the Barbie movie, is that when you give these little girls all these dolls that have every profession, right? Like, where's Barbie surgeons, Barbie president, Barbie, pageant, when they have every job. And we say over and over, you can be anything you want. And we really believe that, right? We tell our kids that. And then they enter the real world, and you mostly see men in charge of most things, and you've never seen a man president. There's kind of like a reality that hits you where you just kind of feel lied to in a weird way.
No, I understand it. And I've talked about this before. I have had some problems in the working world because I was raised by women.
Yeah.
So therefore my respect was toward my mother and my two older sisters, because they're the ones who raised me. So when I got out in the real world and it was all men that I was working for, I had problems from day one because of that. Yeah. And I'm not saying that, that this, that, or the other thing. I'm just saying in my personal experience, a guy has never told me what to do until I began working. And then I had a guy as a boss, which I didn't really care for.
I could see that not going well for you.
It doesn't. Well, it was brought up by the Hubbard Corporation. I won't say who it was. It said it is amazing how many more women think you're a wonderful person than guys do. I said, no, it's always been that way. It's been that way my whole life, and it's not because I'm Elvis Presley or anything like that.
We all die around you.
Exactly. No, it's because I suppose I do react to things differently being raised by women. So I guess what they're saying is I'm much more respectful toward women than I am toward men, which I can't deny for 1 minute. There's no question about it, but it's just how I was raised, right?
Yeah, I think it's hard. I had a problem with the military with some of the men that have been there for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They were hard to, because they wanted your respect in a way that was very aggressive. And then a lot of times the younger men leadership or the women kind of did that thing where they're like, I want to earn your respect. I want that. And I've noticed that in general, like, and not everybody, by no means would I say this. So I could see how you wouldn't, Tom, just automatically go, I respect you because you're my boss. Like you wouldn't just walk into a situation going, yeah, because you're yelling at me or demanding, I'm going to automatically respect you. But like you're somebody, if you get a little bit respect, it goes a long way with you, Tom. So I could see like that management style not working well.
No, it doesn't work well. Well, Kate Winslet. Yeah, good. Kate, our buddy at KQ back then, now works for Hubbard, obviously. And it's not Kate Winslet. It's a different Kate.
I've been listening around the office.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's been talked about all the time. When I was at the Q for all those years, they had a male general manager and a male program director. And then Kate was, working with them. And to get me to do anything, they always sent Kate and said, Tom, you got to do this. Because if they came to me and said, you got to do this, I'd go, no, I'm not doing that. Forget it. Yeah. So I'd go through the general manager. I'd go through the program director. And then Kate would come and see me and go, you have to do this. All right. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
And now I'm working with her again. So I'm going to be told what to do the rest of my career by a woman. That's how it's always been. I'm just not used to men telling me what to do. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, is that acceptable?
I think, I don't want to like pretend like I have any sort of degree in psychoanalyzing anybody, but I think that has something to do too, is you had this, I don't want to say terrible, but not a great father figure.
He was a terrible father. I'll say it for you then.
Okay, thank you.
He was terrible.
And can you imagine him coming in and out of your life and demanding respect just for the sake because he was your father? Or, like there was just so many attributes you think combined in that where you go, yeah, of course you're triggered by a man that shows up and go, hey, do it this way. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. Like, oh, terrible.
That's why I had an argument. I have a friend, Renee Sternau, is a great psychologist. He's a wonderful friend and really a brilliant man. And I used to argue with him because I'm about 4 to 5 inches taller than I was 4 or 5 inches taller than all my brothers. Right. And I literally tried to convince Renee that I willed myself to be bigger so I wouldn't have to deal with men.
Did it work?
Yeah, so far, it's worked out just fine. Except for, like I said, now we've got the female basketball players and volleyball players who are 6'8", which makes me very uncomfortable. I just will tell you.
It's so funny. You have, and a lot of men do this, like always have to tap into the height thing because it's like that doesn't come into play in my mind most of the time.
Well, you're a very tall woman, though.
I'm a tall woman, but I wouldn't like sit and think about, am I taller than Alex? Am I taller than Catherine? Like I wouldn't go into my brain, but you guys always know who's taller than who.
Well, but you have to understand that doesn't come from the top. It comes from the bottom because short men get really bad attitudes a lot.
Do they?
Right. Yeah. And I would argue that if you ask a girl, like, what's your ideal man, she'll tell you what height that man should be.
That's exactly right.
Right. Like, we're not going to sit here and pretend that women just don't care about height.
No, I meant like
he's got to be at least 6 feet tall.
I don't mean with like dating, but I mean like being very, like Tom is very aware of who's taller, where somebody comes in tall or short or whatever. He's very aware of that. And I would say, Tevin, you fall in that too of like, he was this tall. Like I would never on a social aspect. Like when I think of Amy, I can't tell. I assume I'm taller than her, but I don't really know. Like I haven't thought about it enough.
But here's the difference. It's not thinking about it. And I think Tevin might have gone through the same situation. and you guys witnessed it, as a matter of fact, without bringing up any names. Every time I have to deal, look, my best friend in the world was Andy Fisher, and Andy Fisher was 5'7". So that's a pretty average. What's the average men's height? What, 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", something like that?
I'll check U.S. men height.
U.S. men height. But the problem is the fact that a lot of, shorter men, and again, 5'7" is pretty average. A lot of shorter men get a really bad attitude about, well, like, Tevin, you're what, 6'4"?
Yeah.
You must get it more than I do then.
But people, yeah, like, and because it's usually shorter people will come up to you and ask you how tall you are. And you go like, oh, I'm like 6'4", 6'5", somewhere in there. And they'll go, no, you're not. Then don't ask.
I'm like kind of shook. I didn't realize Tevin was that tall.
Oh, didn't you really?
No.
I'm a tall drink of water, Brittany.
Yeah, I should have known. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. Tall drink of water.
But no, it's like it's weird because it usually is, because short people, yes, will get made fun of a lot, but it's you hear short people will add inches to their height. You get your 5'8" friend that, well, I'm just shy of 6 foot. No, you're not. It's okay. You can just
They're
be
not
honest about your height.
wrong.
Yeah.
If shy is 4 inches.
Right. Well, then I'm also just shy of 7 feet. So
yeah,
it's a wash.
I used to kind of notice that more, but like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I know I'm either 5'7" or 5'8", depending on what shoes I have. Like, some tennis shoes have bigger soles, but it's like, if that's the one thing you're going to make fun of me about, I must be awesome, because
that's true.
Apart left and right. Your personality is terrible. All this other. If the one thing that you have to do is like, you're short. Okay, you are a box of rocks. You are dumb then. So if that's the one thing you can come up with. So
it's not everybody. I don't want everybody to think that a lot shorter men are all assholes, because they're not. No. But you can find an asshole in shorter men. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Usually,
I guess, no pun intended, a much shorter fuse as well. Where they
see the short fuse. Look, next time you and I are walking down the street, I'm gonna go, man, look at that fuse over there.
Yeah.
Think of that fuse. It's gonna be our inside information kind of deal.
And honestly, I'd rather be a little bit shorter, I think, because you always have to grab stuff off the top shelf.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, true. Your life is so hard to be tall.
You're the guy that also has the truck. Anytime anybody wants to move, it's like, hey, Tevin.
Oh,
you wanna?
Yeah.
No,
that's why Tevin has a little Tesla. He's like, sorry, I can put one box in my passenger seat.
Yep, and we can only go a limited range. I'm not getting any gas today.
But I will tell you one thing that you're going to have to deal with later in life, because I used to be about a little over 6'1". Mm-hmm. I don't even know if I'm 6 feet tall anymore. I might be 6 feet tall, but I might even be a little shorter than that now, because you get older, you lose height. That's just how it is.
I refuse to say I'm 5'9". I literally will just say 5'10" every time. But I definitely have lost an inch for sure. At one point I was 5'10", and now I'm for sure 5'9".
See, I feel like you're taller than that.
I might.
I thought you were 6 feet tall. Yeah.
Well, let's check someday.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll stand back to back and have somebody at the office.
I like that a lot.
Start measuring on the door frame.
Right. Look as me and Tom start going down.
Now, I want to make a reference, because part of this, what we're talking about, comes in later in the story. But Catherine and I sat down on Saturday night, and I finally gave in and watched a 3-hour John Wick 4.
So did I.
You did too?
Hey, everybody is watching John Wick in my life right now, by the way. This is wild. Priscilla messaged me. Catherine tweeted about it. And Tevin and Tom.
Really?
Tom, I'm so happy that you watched this movie. I need to know what you think, because
phenomenal.
I thought it was good. Like, it was a John Wick movie, but it was so long. Like, it felt longer than 3 hours. Like,
it was long.
The fight scenes were all like, okay, we get it. You're killing a bunch of people. Can we wrap it up?
This is the fourth one or the third one?
Fourth one.
Fourth one. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Now, who is the guy? He's got black hair. He's quite a bit shorter than John.
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane. Yes.
Slick back hair.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy. And Catherine said it's because of our eyes. That's the guy. Everybody thinks that he and I look a lot alike around the the eyes and all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of watched him in that movie, and I would go, you know what? If that's really how I look, I do look like an asshole. Because he's always got that look in his face like, I'm going to bury you. He's always got that look going. I love the guy. He's a great actor. There's no question about it. He's a wonderful actor. But people say, you look a lot like that Ian McShane guy. But it's not my whole face. It's just the eye part of it.
Yeah, definitely just the eyes.
Do I kind of give this impression with my eyes that I'm pissed off at the world?
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of people have told me that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you think that's true?
I don't think you're pissed off at the world.
No, but I mean, I look like I am.
Oh yeah, like I'm very like used to your resting face, and I have no problem. Like I get it. I have a resting face that I've been told many times. Like you're pissed off, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I was literally listening intently. But your face, I would assume if I didn't know better that you were about to punch somebody. It's like
that's what everyone says. And I don't know, maybe it got that way because my dad was such a prick and all the rest of it. Maybe. I don't know that I'm making a face. I'm not trying to make a mean face or a tough guy face or any stuff. It's just, I have this look on my face like, get away from me.
Oh yeah. And sometimes I'll see you zone out, like when we're all in studio and like you'll zone out and sitting there. And I'm like, if I didn't know any better, I would be scared, but I'm too dumb to be scared. So, boop, boop.
But I will say this again about John Wick 4. I held off Tevin because it is almost 3 hours long, right?
Yeah.
But I'm really glad I finally broke down. And I got this coming my way again in about a half an hour because Kristen Bird has been trying to talk me into watching John Wick 4 for about a year and a half now, something like that. But I did watch it. It's very entertaining because there are not a whole lot of quiet moments in the movie, I guess is the best way to put it.
No, the movie starts kicking some ass, and then it's just 3 hours of nothing but hayas and gunshots and bombs and explosions, and there's a dog that starts eating people, and then at the end, it's just this peaceful sunset. And you're like, all right.
It's true.
Can't wait for the fifth one.
There was like a preview of it because John Wick was up for some award. John Wick 4 was up for some award for the Golden Globes. And they were like, John Wick is a man who will only find peace when he's dead. And then the John Wick character was like, I don't think it works like that. And I was just thought to myself, that was the first time I saw a clip where I was like, that looks like a fun movie. But Bob Sansevier has been talking about that movie, Tom, for
has he?
Yes, and he's gonna we almost on Friday. I have to like write down a note to remind us to tell him that you finally watched it.
Yeah, we should.
He's gonna be so happy that you finally watched it.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'll say got a little ridiculous is because Keanu Reeves has a bad knee from an accident that he suffered in one of his movies, and so there are some times when they are requiring him to run a little bit of a distance or make some maneuvers where you're like, you really couldn't be an assassin because you have one hell of a limp, and that guy definitely, like the guy he's fighting is like waiting for him to gather himself so they can re-engage. But other than that, yeah, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Catherine, that's one thing I am so lucky because my wife and I tend to like the same things. And like, she won't watch The World's Dumbest with me, which I've seen every episode and I still watch it because it's so damn stupid. I love that show. Do you guys like that show?
It's okay. It has its times. Like I could see me watching it with the nephews and having a grand old time.
Right.
Yeah.
Fellas, same way.
Yeah, it's not my go-to, but I always get a chuckle when you get some of the really good things that people just are absolutely not bright about on there.
That was like one of those where you're sitting around with people and it's just kind of, it's on and you're half watching but half talking to them. So it's like, oh, hey, look at this guy. He drove a car into a lighthouse. Oh, what an idiot. Anyways, what were we talking about? Like, you just go back and forth.
You know, one thing I do love about it, and he may be the reason I was attracted to the show in the first place. Who's that guy that used to be on the television family, had their own band again? What the hell was the name of that thing?
Brady Bunch?
No, not the Brady Bunch. But it was like that. Oh,
Partridge Family?
Partridge Family. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. Because he was on that show. Right? I love that guy. I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name? The actual actor?
Which is he, the dad or?
No, he's the redheaded guy.
Oh, the redheaded.
He's a little kid on that show, actually.
God, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But
Danny Bonaduce.
Danny Bonaduce, that's exactly who it is. Who we've had on the show. Well, not this show, but the Q. You know, he got out of radio. He was doing radio for like 30 years, and he just quit. BJ Shea, my friend out in Seattle, took his job because BJ got let go by Odyssey. Gee, I wonder why they let him go from a company that just filed for bankruptcy. How'd that happen?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But yeah, BJ Shea spoke highly of him and all the rest of it. He took Danny Bonaduce's job in Seattle when he left the other place. But one of the reasons I love watching that show so much, World's Dumbest, is because Danny Bonaduce comes on and he's so honest. Yeah, there were a few times I got pulled over for drunk driving, but yeah, then I had to beat the hell out of this one guy. And then, I mean, he's just very open and honest about alcoholism and street brawls and all this stuff.
That is kind of the new age. And I think it's because of documentaries that you see on Netflix or whatever. Like I was just watching one over the weekend called Bitcon. And essentially this guy made a fake Bitcoin back in 2017 and it was like $35 million plus like of investors from, small, like, just regular average Joe people. But he's on, and he never went to jail for any of it because he ended up ratting out a bunch of people. But anyway, he was in the documentary just kind of like, I just woke up and started stealing from people and how great is my life. And I was doing all these drugs and blah, blah, blah. So people, really have become desensitized because of all of these like documentaries. They're just, it's normal Tuesday, scamming and whatever else.
See, I could never do that. Scam somebody out of, if I couldn't admit that I could make my own money, I could never scam somebody out of money. And I've been scammed out of money many times myself, trying to help people out and you get scammed. You just do. I would never even think of that. How do you admit to yourself you're such a piece of shit you can't even make any money?
Yeah, and like I just know the feeling of like, even if I lost $20 because it fell out of my pocket, how bad that makes me feel. I couldn't imagine. Like you hear stories of people, got $60,000 from somebody's grandparents. Now they can't, retire or whatever else. And like that, I couldn't live with myself having that feeling on my conscience.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We got another break to do this hour, do we not?
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to make sure. I thought we did, but I wasn't certain because now when Kristyn comes on in about a half an hour, I'm going to have to like get on my knees and bow and say, you were right, that watching John Wick 4, I should have done it a year ago. Yeah.
Well, she's got, after the Golden Globes yesterday with Joe Coy, she's got a hell of a report.
What do you mean? I like Joe Coy. Do some people not like him?
Tom, don't go
on. It wasn't great.
Probably the worst hosting I've ever seen, and I can't imagine it getting any worse. Like people are saying this could be the end of his career.
You know when you watch something alone and you go, okay, like I'm not like a sensitive person, but like I felt like that didn't hit. And then you look online and you go, okay, that was kind of the common consensus. That did not hit well. That did not land at all.
Like they should have, like when back in the day when they had the intermission screens where it was like kind of the brrr in the bars, they should have felt like they needed to throw that up, quick, find a new host and get Joe Coy out of there because it was
that bad. He's such a sweetheart of a nice guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of backstory to that too, because they couldn't find a host and they found him, I think 10 days ago. People wouldn't accept it. They would say no, because like Golden Globes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and maybe Kristyn will probably tell us all about this. So I'll leave some to her, but we can talk about that if we want to.
All right. Before we go to break, I want to read one more of those things that were predicted in 1924. This is the one that scares the piss out of me because it's quite accurate. In 1924, it was predicted that by 2024, constant war everywhere. The president of the American Chemical Society had a different take. He thought futuristic weapons would mean major cities would constantly be under attack. What do we got going on right now? There's war everywhere. I mean, it's just, whether it's in the Middle East, here in America, it's a verbal war, thank God. Well, that's not necessarily true because people get shot every single day in this country, no question about it. But that's a hell of a prediction that 100 years ago, they predicted by 2024, there would be constant war everywhere. How are we going to get out of this war? You guys got any good ideas? Because I don't see a way out.
Which one?
All of them. You got China that's, pushing people. You got Russia pushing people. You got America pushing people. The Middle East is a disaster. I mean, you got people. I never, ever, ever thought I'd see the day when people at Ivy League colleges would turn on Jews the way they have. I thought I'd never see that. And again, I grew up in the neighborhood. I got a lot of friends that are Jews. It pisses me off. It's like, okay, we're going to put everybody in it. We weren't supposed to be putting people in little pockets because of their orientation or their skin color or their religion. We weren't supposed to do that. But apparently that's okay for Jews now. How is that okay? I don't get it.
No, it's not okay. And like, regardless of who it is, and
Right.
just to see an institution, take those stances is shocking.
Now, again, if it were just Josh Arnold, then I could understand it. But
there's just specifically just a Josh Arnold protest.
So here's what I would say to all the youngsters out there in college. Why don't you shut the hell up about the Jews? Because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I got many, I love them. I love these people. Just shut up. Is that too much to ask?
I love that.
Well, it's true, though. My God, I just hear that coming out of Harvard and MIT, and it's like, are you people that stupid to actually believe that's true? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know any Palestinians, but I got nothing against them either. I mean, I'd be nice if we could live in peace. That'd be great.
Yeah, call me crazy, but I definitely
You're
don't want.
crazy.
What? What? How dare you?
Perfect.
I don't think I've ever prescribed to the theory of any sort of decision based off religion, orientation, race.
Right.
So I think in general, I don't think you're going to get many people disagreeing with you here, Tom.
Well, I got to be honest. One of the things, probably again, my childhood sticks in my head. That there were certain neighbors, not many of them on the north side, but they would find out you were Catholic and you couldn't walk on the sidewalk in front of their house. If you were a little kid, they wouldn't do it to grown people, of course. Yeah. But if you were a kid and they found out you were Catholic, they didn't want you even walking on their sidewalk. So we've come a little way since then, thank God.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. A lot of great stuff coming up, including my mea culpas to Kristyn Bird, who has been trying to talk me into seeing John Wick for about a year. When did that come out? 2 years ago? A year and a half ago?
Has it been that long? I always thought it just came out.
I don't know when it came out.
It was 2023. I want to say that was like springtime.
It was this year because it was on up for awards for Golden Globes. I think it was just when we started this in February.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Bob was talking about it.
So it was almost a year ago.
Yeah, correct.
So it took me almost a year to see a movie that Kristyn Bird told me, you got to see it, Tom, you'll love it. Correct?
Yeah. Daily, she's been reminding me.
She has been reminding me. But one thing I love, and Keanu Reeves, we've had him on the show. Well, not this, again, had him on the queue. You couldn't find a nicer man than him. He's the nicest damn guy. Very, very successful. No question about it. But he's just a great guy. Remember the Chucker, when the Chucker, Keanu Reeves came on to promote his band Dog Star?
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite Chuckers oh God, AJ, you got to hear it. Would anybody care if we played that on the air? I mean,
I don't know what the rules are. I have no
wrote
idea.
It. I played it on my show. I mean,
I think so. It's
I don't
a
know.
podcast. It's not
exactly.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Come over here and fight us?
I wonder if you can just find that. Well, first of all, if you can just find it on the internet, everybody's listening to it anyway, right?
I don't know if that's how trademark works, but
it is in my world.
I mean, it's yours. I mean, I say go for it if you wanna. Okay.
The reason I would want to play it is to show what a great guy Keanu Reeves is, because instead of getting pissed off about all those things that Chucker says to him, he laughs his ass off. He thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I've heard, talked to him on the phone. I've never met him in person, but I've heard he's just the nicest damn guy you'd ever want to meet.
Everyone loves him. He's the most unproblematic person, I think, in Hollywood.
And he was not on Jeffrey Epstein's island, so that's another good thing.
Yeah, we love that for him.
Did we ever find out if is it true that Kimmel was on the island or not? They're saying it's bullshit.
I mean, I went through a lot of different documents and couldn't find one thing. But the thing about this is now that he's been mentioned, he might get asked in a court case, and then he would end up in a document. So it's all like, I would be pissed if I was Jimmy Kimmel and the way that Aaron Rodgers dropped that bomb so casually and talking about, I mean, we're talking about child rape, and to casually say, I can't wait till Jimmy Kimmel has to answer for things. I would be lawyers ablaze.
But didn't he do it just because Kimmel was making fun of him, getting hurt again, or it was something like that? Isn't that when he started going after Kimmel?
He made Kimmel. He was fine with Kimmel until Kimmel kind of made an attack on him about like how he used his wording around getting the shot and lied and pretty much like didn't have the balls to just say I didn't want to get a shot, so I didn't. So like Jimmy Kimmel made fun of him quite a bit for that, and I think Aaron Rodgers has been waiting for himself to like take that shot, and that was the moment he did it, which was insane. Like, wait a little bit longer. Jimmy Kimmel will do something annoying, and then you can talk about him. But this was so wild.
We shall take a break. Be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Continue the show right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show.
Tom here, and I want to discuss a partnership that has been wonderful in my life, Zero Res Carpet Care. Very good friends of mine. Nothing is better to someone with a family than having a completely clean home. Your carpet is the biggest filter in your house. If you want to talk about pet dander or foot traffic, dirt from the outside, they all eventually reside in your carpet. So, Zero Res Carpet Care. Listen, around the holidays, you need to contact ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZEROREZ. That's 952-ZERO-RES. They clean your home with their electrolyzed pH-elevated water that doesn't use chemicals or soaps that smell like a janitor's closet like other cleaning services. How about a Tom Barnard deal? Well, here it is. Get 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $129, and don't forget your air ducts. Mention me, and they'll discount your air vents by $75 too. This is for the entire month, so call them right now, 952-0-RES, backward or forwarded, spells the same, or book online, ZeroResMinnesota.com. If it's available, ask for them to come to your place in the Tom Barnard named service truck. What an honor that was, by the way. Just mention me by name and get the special deal to get your home clean and your heart happy. Zero Res Carpet.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
You know the song Kokomo? It's supposed to be off the Florida Keys, right? Hate to break your Beach Boys bubble, but that's a fictitious place they made up for the song. Fortunately for the rest of us, the Florida Keys island chain are as real as the taxes you have to pay in Minnesota if you're a resident. Now that's a reason to move south. In addition to Florida and all of Monroe County being beautiful, the Keys from Key Largo to Key West are even more beautiful. This is Tom Barnard, part-time Florida resident myself. And if you want a second house or a new retirement home or want to become a Floridian, may I suggest you contact Matt Carlson from One Key West Realty. Matt grew up in India. He's a super real estate agent when it comes to finding your tropical island space in the Keys. He lives there and here. And Matt knows what's best in Key West to buy for your second home in Florida. Matt teamed up with fellow Minnesotan from Sartell and Alexandria, Kristen Eklund, who's one of the top mortgage brokers in the country from Coast to Coast Mortgage. She'll get you the financing you need to buy a home in Florida or in Minnesota. Matt's part of the Lake Sotheby's International Realty Group here in Minnesota, and Kristen, his mortgage colleague, lives and works in the Keys, so they both know the Florida Keys' new and existing homes for sale and are Minnesotan through and through. Contact them by heading to onekeywest.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Andy's in. AJ slipped out the door. Goodbye, AJ. I know you can't hear me, but maybe he's listening to the show. It's a possibility, you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably getting logged in right now as he walks out the door.
And Andy's sitting just to my right over here. Doesn't have a camera, though.
No camera.
Oh, your mic doesn't work either.
My mic is not working. Oh, I know why.
Oh, he's got it all figured out. Oh, you got to do the little switch thing. I'll read this while you're working on that.
Better? Any better?
Yeah. You might want to turn it up a bit.
All right.
There, that should be perfect.
Any better?
What do you think? What do you guys think on your end?
Yeah, sounds a lot better.
Okay.
Perfect.
No, oh my! What does that say on your shirt? Now that you're sitting in a higher chair, I didn't. Your shirt says black.
It just says Black Excellence.
Oh, for
it's
God's sake!
It's a local Minnesota like brand, so got to support small business.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
So what do they do? There's a big buzz on somebody's microphone. Yep, it's yours. Why don't you just use this one? When you see the one that Mom uses.
Yeah, for now I will.
Yeah, we'll get the buzz out of that later.
There we go.
I'm going to hold this up to the camera if you haven't seen it before. What was the guy's name again that owned the brothel in Las Vegas that everybody thought it was me? Remember that? The guy just died a couple of years ago, and everybody said, God, isn't that Tom Barnard?
I forget. He looked a little like again, barely, but he looked kind of like you.
I'm looking at the picture. He looks more than kind of like me. I'll tell you that. Gotten several responses. Hey, let's not forget the brothel owner you look exactly like. Not only Ian McShane. Okay, here you go. Is there too much? Oh, I suppose. Wait,
other way. There you go. A little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you see it in a clear picture, he and I look almost exactly alike.
Yeah.
But he died, I think, about a year ago, something like that?
Well, we remember his name?
I can't remember his name. I used to talk about him all the time because of that whole situation that when he died, they put his picture up and people thought I died because
Dennis Hoff. That's who it was.
Dennis Hoff. That's exactly who it is.
That hit me like a ton of bricks all of a sudden. Dennis Hoff.
Like a ton of bricks, man. But yeah, so I'm getting, hey, you don't only look like Ian. And it's all an eye thing, I think, more than anything else. The way our eyes are spaced and the way maybe we all have intense looks or something. I don't know what the hell it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dennis Hoff and I don't, let's not forget about Dennis Hoff. I think that might have come out of Louisville, if you know what I'm saying. Joe from Louisville, just maybe.
Maybe.
But it all works out in the end. So yeah, Andy, what you want to give that mic a whirl?
Yeah, it's working.
Oh, that works. Sounds perfect. So that's good. Andy's in studio. So what else is going on? I think you guys brought this up to me earlier in the day. Taco Bell worker slapped by angry customer who blew up his microwave. That's the one you were talking about, wasn't it, Brittany?
Yes. Yep. That was the article I was talking about.
Andy, have you heard this story?
I have not.
Devin, do you know the story? Well, you kind of know the story.
Yeah, not just off of what you guys have said.
It's just amazing to me. American fast food chain Taco Bell is a popular option for those looking for an affordable and convenient Mexican meal, offering a range of meals from burritos to crunch wraps and, of course, tacos. When it comes to refreshing and reheating a meal from the popular restaurant chain in the microwave, however, there is one vital step to ensure safety. Remove any foil or foil-lined wrappers. One customer who may not have followed this vital step is now going viral after blowing up his microwave and returning to Taco Bell with a vengeance. Came back and slapped, "You're done. You're done. You're effing done. I'm going to sue your ass off," the man can be heard declaring to the employee, one of the managers in the store. When asked if he would like new food, the man exclaimed, "Plus, you guys are going to pay for my effing microwave. It blew up." Now, did he get hurt? Did it spew on him or something?
I don't know. I know he was pissed and he lost his GD mind.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. We all have to fight the instinct. When something bad happens, we instinctually want to figure out who did us wrong. And I think you're in kindergarten when you learn that it is inappropriate to then lash out. Like you have to take that first beat and like figuring out those instincts and disconnecting kind of that first immediate need to blame is something that this man needs to work on a level I almost respect it.
But who doesn't know you can't put foil in a microwave?
I know.
How do you not know that?
It's insane.
Yeah, and blaming somebody that's working at a Taco Bell for something that happened at your house is wild.
It's wild.
I agree 100%. Getting increasingly agitated, he stated, "Oh, you're smiling," before slapping the employee across the face to a chorus of shocked reactions from other customers and workers. See, now that is one of those situations, and you guys probably know this, that if I saw somebody do that, I could not just sit there in my chair and go, "Oh my God, he slapped the worker across the face." I could not sit and watch that.
Oh man, I've had some jarring things happen in front of me and it's weird because your body kind of stops just because it's so out of place.
Yeah. Yep.
But then after about a half second, people kick into gear. I would hope. I don't think you just let somebody get an innocent worker get hit in the face. But yeah, there is something that's a shock where you go, oh my God, it's like my brain does not compute this or compute this at all.
No, it's understandable. Now, did you hear what the employee said back to him?
No.
When they slapped the employee said, yo, what the hell? No, what the effing hell is going on with you, bro?
Reasonable response.
He went all urban on us. Correct?
I think that makes sense to have that response. Like, there's times where I go, that is an appropriate response to the situation. Absolutely.
I just don't understand. How is it his fault that you put tinfoil in a microwave? And I didn't know their tacos came with foil, do they?
I don't think all
burritos
of them
do.
I didn't think so. They come in paper.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like they're gorditas maybe or something. Something must come in tinfoil.
Yeah, the burritos maybe to keep them warm or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
So what's going on with you, bro? The employee said, evidently confused by the sudden escalation. Another manager then stepped up with a heated argument ensuing, which the customer repeatedly told both workers, F you, F you, F you. He's dropping the F-bomb. Brother over microwaved a fast food sandwich and it blew up in his microwave. Now he's there complaining and wants them to buy him a new microwave. What a snowflake, one Redditor posted in response to the altercation.
Yeah.
I haven't picked up any Taco Bell in a while. I like Taco Bell. I haven't been there in a while. I don't remember any tin foil unless not even the burritos. They come wrapped in paper, don't they?
Because I'm looking things up and it's all over the board because there is like a gordita burrito thing that looks like it has tin foil on it.
Oh, okay.
But for the most part, it's paper. But there are some items that do have maybe even like a little tinfoil lined thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But still, you would know better than to put that in a microwave. Like I said, 45 years ago when they first came out, my friend Chucky blew it up. Started it on fire, actually, but it wasn't a big fire, thank God. I've known for 45 years that you don't put tin foil in a microwave.
It just blows my mind because I have a very strong urge to self-destruct myself. So it's like,
what?
If I did that in my household, I'd be like, I am an idiot. The idea that you had enough time then to think about it while you got in your car, drove to the Taco Bell, walked out, got in line, waited patiently, and then yelled at that person. At that point, at any time, did you go, this is a bad idea. This is not the way I should be handling something.
The people in the Taco Bell are getting better and better. Another person said that geezer doesn't know you don't put anything containing aluminum in a microwave. That's the first effing lesson you get with a microwave. I like that. That geezer calls a guy a geezer.
Yeah, well, this guy's old enough to know better than to put something that has metal in the microwave. And also, if you smack the Taco Bell employee, he's lucky they didn't just throw him out the front door.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for real.
Absolutely true. But yeah, I love those lines. That's the first effing lesson you get with a microwave. And it is, like I said, I don't know. Bags of popcorn, they didn't have aluminum in them, did they?
Microwavable bags? Well, they were microwavable.
They were microwavable bags.
So yeah.
So I don't know, but I do remember that did happen. But that was again 45 years ago. So my God, I hope you learned by now.
I remember as a kid we used to put Doritos bags, empty Doritos bags, in the microwave, and they shrink down into a singularity. If you've never seen it, Google it. Doritos bag in your microwave.
It was old CDs.
Oh yeah, and they would
my first lesson in the microwave. Yep. He was like, "Here, put this in the microwave for 1 second," and it looked like the whole microwave exploded. And he's like, "Don't put anything metal in the microwave ever again." And I was like,
"Yep."
Honest to God. So it didn't. It just kind of. It didn't start on fire. It just melted.
Well, so what happens is so the microwave. How a microwave works is it shoots out microwaves and that heats up your food.
Indeed.
Metal reflects microwaves back at the magnetron.
Right.
And that causes all sorts of not so good things to happen.
Yeah, the CD, it looked like those almost, I guess, fortune teller balls that you used to be able to touch, and the little purple like lightning bolts would move around. It looked like that, except it was coming from a CD. And it was again, it was like a split second, because then he was like, let's turn this off before we all die. But
That'd be a good idea. Yeah, that's a good plan. I don't know if I want to do this story or not, because I could be the bad guy in the story. The headline in this story: snow is coming.
I know.
It's actually it already came yesterday, right?
It's right now it's snowing quite a bit. During this last break, I almost missed it because Justin took Gogo outside to look at the snow, and it's snowing right now here in Eden Prairie. I don't know if it is where you guys are, but yeah.
Snowstorm warnings in place for southern Minnesota today. Much colder air coming for the weekend. The metro will miss most of the snow that will fall ahead of the season's first below zero readings of the season. Now, somebody told me in Philadelphia it snowed a foot.
Dang.
Would you look that up and see if that is true? Because I was told that it snowed a foot in Philadelphia. Jesus. I wonder if they had that right, because western Pennsylvania gets more snow than eastern Pennsylvania, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
I think so. I actually don't know, but you sounded so confident that it
Yes, I was
right. I honestly have why am I even pretending to go, yeah. And then I was like, I don't know that.
I got a foot in the Poconos.
The Poconos, so that's in New York, right?
Sounds like a sex thing you just said.
Foot in the Poconos.
I got a foot in the Poconos. You're nasty.
Me too, Andy. Me too.
Oh,
anything involving feet doesn't make me think of anything good.
A foot in the Poconos. I'll have that.
All right, it's time to go to break, and then I got to apologize to Kristyn Bird about 50 times for not following her early lead.
I'm sure it'll go really well. You apologizing always goes very well.
You know, I'm sorry, you bastard.
I'm sorry that I wasn't that you were an idiot before I was.
I'm sorry you feel so bad.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is the worst.
We will take a break. Be right back. Kristyn Bird will join us right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. Listen live on the Tom Barnard Show app or at tombernardshow.com.
You have all helped support MyPillow and their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows this and continues to give back to listeners with great deals on his most popular products. Right now, you can save 50% on Queen and King pillows and the original My Slippers, and the MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. Set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price is $79.98. And for a limited time, you can get this 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code TOM. That's a 50% savings. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TOM to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel sets. That is just $39.99 for a set. This deal will not last long. Enter promo code TOM for this special and many more.
Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC has a mutiny on his hands. His sales crew said they've had it brooming snow off the new Buicks and GMCs, then warm them up, move them to plow, and repark them again. He even overheard them cooking up an alternative plan, a sale.
This is crazy. Why don't we just mark them down and sell them?
This is getting real old to be out on that lot in this sub-zero weather.
That's right. Everyone we sell is one less to broom.
I heard we're supposed to get 6 more inches tomorrow.
I'm 5'6". How am I supposed to get the snow off the roof of a pickup?
I'm Jim Paul, and well, car dealers do have all kinds of crazy sales. This idea probably makes more sense than most. There's plenty of inventory, so okay, the crew has decided.
Now we're talking.
So then it's official. The We Don't Want to Broom snow sale is in full force at Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings. Snowy inventory priced real right at valleycardealers.com.
Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Landon and Gavin Miller of D&B Plating.
I've always been impressed with their speed of answers to our questions, and that has allowed us to expand and capitalize on opportunities in the market. North American Banking Company has never made us feel like a number. They've always treated us as a partner.
For more information about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com or stop by any one of their Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The new Tom Barnard Show is proud to have partners like Bradshaw & Bryant, MyPillow, and North American Banking Company founder, chairman, and president, Mike Bilski.
I've advertised on Tom's show for years, and the reason is simple. My business is recognized because of the ads, and that recognition has created growth. What business doesn't want to grow? I highly recommend the Tom Barnard Morning Show for your advertising.
Grow results for your business by partnering with the Tom Barnard Show. Visit tombarnardshow.com, keyword partner.
I will do it. I'll get it done. There's no question about it. So what else is happening?
Oh, just I'm excited to talk to Kristyn about the Golden Globes. I think she's going to have a lot of fun things to say.
We'll find out. Ladies and gentlemen, Kristyn Burt, Entertainment News is brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. All right, the apologies have to start right now.
What did you do?
Catherine and I watched John Wick 4 on Saturday night.
Oh, you did you?
You tried to talk me into watching it for about 9 months now, 10 months, something like that. Correct?
Correct.
I thought it was terrific. I enjoyed it from the moment it started till 3 hours later when it ended.
How many breaks did you take?
None. We didn't take any breaks at all. We just watched
all the way through.
Yes. The one thing that I love about being married to Andy's mother is that she can get into that stuff. Because there are a lot of, there are men and women, but a lot of women don't like movies like that at all. But Catherine's like, she was counting how many times he would punch somebody in the face. She was having a scorecard. Yeah, a little scorecard. I thought, taking it for what it was. I mean, it's not, an all-time classic or anything, but it was quite enjoyable to watch because it was so ridiculous. First of all the things that went on. I mean, there was a blind guy, and somehow, I don't know, but he could figure out right where you were standing, even though he couldn't see you. How's that possible? You're hearing his breath. What are you doing?
Wait, you mean you didn't believe when he was playing that 5-card draw poker game with them and he knew that it was all 5?
I think Hollywood didn't want you to question how blind he was. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people can see shadows and maybe he had a little better vision than we realized.
But yeah, I should have watched it a long time ago. But again, I'm that Oppenheimer and John Wick 4 in the same 2 weeks. For me to sit down for 6 hours watching 2 movies, that's a big deal for me. There's no question about it.
Huge deal. Because listen, long movies are tough. That there's no doubt about that. I find I have the same issue that you do. But listen, you got some good movie going on, so that's good.
It was wonderful to sit there with Catherine. She's laughing and some horrified, and I'm doing the same. It was quite enjoyable, actually. I am really glad that I watched it with Catherine. Watching it by myself, it wouldn't have been as much fun.
I have a question though. Would you have been able to watch those movies in the movie theater versus at home? Did being at home make a difference with the length?
Yeah. And you know what, Kristyn, it makes me very, very sad because nobody loved going to the movies more than I did. And people just don't go to the movie. I still go to the movies. I love that like I said, the Edina Theater on 50th Street is one of my favorite places to go. The Imagine over there, because we've been going to that Chinese restaurant across the parking lot for about 40 years now. So we go have a nice Chinese dinner, and then we go walk across the parking lot and go to a movie. Same with the Edina Theater. There are many places. Barrio's right down the block, and you got Crispin Green. You got all these great places. That I am going to miss that experience because, boy, it's not looking good for theaters at all, is it?
They'll still exist. There's always going to be movie theaters. I think we shouldn't it's not all gloom and doom. I just think the era of we had showcase cinemas when I grew up in Massachusetts. And it was such a big deal when, all of a sudden there was a 10-plex or a 14-plex. I think those are gone. I don't think that they can sustain that amount of theaters. So maybe 6 or under, will probably be the standard for movie theaters. A lot of standalone do very well here in Los Angeles. I think I've talked about several times about the El Capitan. Netflix just refurbished the Egyptian. We still have the Chinese theater. It's owned by TCL, and they've built a couple of theaters to like the behind the actual Chinese theater. So I think those will be able to exist because there'll always be movies coming out, but we're not going to have. We just don't have the volume that we used to. We're not going to have 5 movies come out in a weekend, like 5 big movies anymore. It's going to be a lot smaller. It's going to be 1 to 2 releases, maybe a couple of indies. But that's the nature of the game. And as long as the movies exist, because having that experience is special for families, it's special for all of us, brings back memories. I like my popcorn and soda. We're all good.
Yes. Yeah, no question. Well, I was talking to Andy about this, that we're on vacation back in the day. We'd fly down to Florida and went to a movie theater, which is right on, what is that, Rosemary Place? Is that what it is?
Yeah, by the square, I think.
Yeah, right. And I am not exaggerating when I tell you this movie theater had 14 theaters, 14 of them. And when you walked in, Andy, would you compare it to walking into a Catholic cathedral?
Yeah.
I mean, you thought you were in church. It was this magnificently ornate, beautiful theater. Well, just last month they tore it down because the land was way too much, way too valuable to keep a movie theater there.
And what are they building? Are they building condos? And
I'm sure it's going to be condos.
A 28-story building.
Yep. There you go.
Right where that theater. But my God, it was such a treat to go to that theater. It literally, and I'm not kidding you, like I don't know if you're ever in Minneapolis, if you ever went inside the Basilica in downtown Minneapolis.
Yes.
That's exactly what it looked like in that movie theater. It's like, oh my God.
Now everyone's going to be living at a mall soon. We have a lot of you can live at a condo and there's a mall right below you. I think it's going to be a very strange existence now that we're losing all of these classic buildings.
But I wanted to bring that up this morning because you were on me for about 8, 9, 10 months, something like that. It came out. Did it come in February last year? Is that when it came out?
I think so. Right around then.
Right around then.
It was one of the first movies we talked about.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, God, but having Catherine, because I said, Catherine, do you have any interest at all in watching John Wick 4? She said, sure, let's watch it together. That'd be good. And her laughing or pulling her blanket over her head when the really vicious stuff was happening, because she will not watch that vicious stuff. She can't do it.
So I need to just tell Catherine what I think you guys should watch.
Yes.
And then, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, you kind of notice the fact that whatever Catherine wants, Catherine gets. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
And I'm not making that up, by the way. I guess, look, I adore the woman. You know that. I'm deeply in love with my wife, but she takes advantage of it like there's no tomorrow. Oh, really? You don't want to watch it? Because I think I would really enjoy what it's like. Okay, stop working. That's enough working me. See, even Jude's barking about it. He heard what I just said.
He knows.
He's having a fit. So what else is happening in entertainment these days?
You know what? I slid into Tevin's DMs last night and go, OMG, Joe Coy. That's all I said.
Oh God, that's right.
I knew you
already heard from. I heard from.
You knew I was going to do it. You know I was that predictable, Tevin.
Yep.
Well, no, I knew you were going to bring it up today. So, and I know Tom didn't see the monologue. So I have a little clip that was my personal favorite part of Joe Coy's performance. I'm going to play it for you guys. Hopefully this works.
Do it to me.
Perfect beauty to bad breath, cellulite, and flat feet. Or what casting directors call character actor. Yo, I got the gig 10 days ago. You want a perfect monologue? Yo, shut up. You're kidding me, right? Slow down. I wrote some of these, and they're the ones you're laughing at.
Joe went on to zing Robert De Niro.
But yeah, so that's essentially.
It's got to be your greatest performance ever. How'd you bring that 80?
Yeah, he was terrible, and everybody online is essentially saying that this could be the end of his comedy career.
It's too bad.
I love Joe Coy. He's the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet.
Okay, let's just a couple things in his defense. He did get the job at the last minute and just so people understand, when you're named host, you usually have 4 to 6 weeks to prepare for a show, whether it's Golden Globes or Oscars or Emmys or anything else like that. So he didn't have a long time to prepare material. And he also, I saw an interview with him. He hadn't watched any of the movies. So he spent a lot of the last couple of weeks like watching all the movies and watching the shows to kind of prepare. So that's a lot to be doing, trying to write jokes while trying to figure out like what's funny from some of these movies. So he was already well behind before he got the job. But it's hard to write for these audiences. It is a brand new owner, Penske Media Group. I work for them, just so everybody knows for, transparency. But Jay Penske, who owns Penske Media Group, was very involved in the ceremony. They wanted to do some updates. So remember, he's probably getting input from multiple sources on like how they want to modernize the Golden Globes and make it different and like put their controversial past behind them. So he was already in a no-win situation, but then I just felt like there were some easy jokes that he could have done because there are so many celebrities in the room, and he missed a lot of those and just kind of punched down, and nobody was with him. Nobody was on his side, including that room.
Yeah. Completely break and be like, hey, I didn't write all these. You're laughing at the ones that are funny that I wrote. And it was not a great look. And it really, I think, exposed because I don't know if you've seen him do comedy, Kristyn, but his style is that he's obviously Filipino American, and then he leans heavily into that. He does a lot of the fake accent voices and talks about his mom a lot. And so when he doesn't have that kind of crutch to lean on, it kind of exposed him and his comedy chops as well.
You guys hear Ethan in the background?
Yeah, we do.
Ethan. You can see Ethan.
He's not in the background. He is right here.
He's right on the camera.
Ethan, say hi. Ethan, say hi. Say hello, Kristyn. No, he just handling the mic right now.
Let's not do that.
So what I found interesting, as things went on, as the show went on, and he realized he was like bombing more and more, he got louder and louder and louder, and was basically like yelling.
And I was like, tell, yeah.
And you know what's interesting is that going back and thinking about Ricky Gervais, and he can't be Ricky Gervais, and I get that. No. Ricky Gervais would just come out with a drink, and he just like lean into the mic, and he just tell a joke, and like because it is an intimate audience. And I think also the new stage setting where basically everyone was like really spread out, and it was hard to get around. I think that also worked against him. I know that sounds weird, but it just wasn't ideal for what the Golden Globe setup is at the Beverly Hilton.
Yeah.
But like, oh, sorry, Tom, you go.
No, it's a very quick question.
Yeah.
Because part of this, and it's not as bad in England, you brought up Ricky Gervais, but you can't be funny in America anymore. You can't go too far. Everybody's terrified that the joke they're going to tell is going to go too far. I mean, I got to be honest with you. If you compare what could be said on the Johnny Carson show back in the day, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel might be the funniest people in the world, but they're not funny anymore because you can't be funny anymore on those shows because everybody come after you like there's no tomorrow.
They, especially like Colbert, they have cultivated that audience.
They're
kind of being hoist with their own petard, I think.
But I want to say Golden Globes is probably like the one place where you can be a little bit more irreverent.
Oh, really?
Because traditionally it's the show that you get drunk at, and celebrities, because they're sitting at the dining table, and people are known to get sloppy drunk there. And it's why it's why people look at Ricky Gervais as well as Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, who hosted, and say, we love them hosting because they made fun of everybody in the room, but in a way that like everyone understood, even the viewer at home. And it was funny without just being like, I'm trying to make you laugh at me. And I just felt for Joe Coy because like that we've all been on stage where you like made a joke and nobody laughs with you.
Yeah. But you think since he's got such like, he's done all the rooms, right? He's done every room, and because you as a comedian, you have to do all the hard rooms, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he started jumping ship, you could feel that, like, are you not a professional? When he started calling out some jokes I wrote, you're laughing at my joke, so you remember that. It's like, how long have you been doing this? Because it's like, why wouldn't you just commit? Like, that's what always happens. Like, Kristen Wiig and Will Ferrell came out and had this silly bit about dancing to this music, and they committed, and we all kind of laughed about it. And so it's like, that's where you go, was it hilarious? Kind of, only because they like committed so hard. But it wasn't always landing. And
Ray Romano and Carrie Russell had a bit. It worked.
It was very funny because they both committed and acted like it was so sincere. I mean, I even laughed at the Kevin Costner in America Ferrera bit because it was like she committed. She was like, wow, and I mean, he just has that attitude of I would rather be anywhere else. And they leaned into it and it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And he rarely shows up at the Globes. So it was like Kevin Costner's at the Golden Globes.
Yeah, and if Joe Coy would have went, because we all understand you got this job 10 days ago.
Yeah.
Like, we are all aware. Like if he would have been, oh, this joke bombed. I wish I had kind of been more self-deprecating about the whole thing. Then it's like, okay, we can feel for you rather than you're attacking your poor writers who also probably some of them just got the job 10 days ago along with what you brought in.
And my other thought too was like, Taylor Swift was in the room. There could have been 18,000 Taylor Swift jokes. And he leaned into the one of like, we're not going to show her as much as the NFL. And I'm like, no, actually, this audience is very with Taylor Swift. So had they done some sort of like spoof of like her romance with Travis,
or even like act like you're a Swiftie and be like, yeah, I'm not a big Swiftie. And then but Arizona 23 when I was, start like spitting out, fun, like extreme facts about it. That would have been funny. There's so many things. He just, Tom, it felt like jokes we could have written if we were hacks and had an hour, because there was even a joke about why Oppenheimer is so more deserving than Barbie, because Barbie's based on a plastic doll with good tits. And it's like, that's hilarious.
That was the joke.
Yeah.
She actually delivered it just like Joe Coy did.
I nailed it, actually.
And you saw like Greta Gerwig was like, like just nobody was like, that's a good joke. And like, that's it. You totally missed the whole like feminist message of Barbie if you're joking about her boobs.
Were you guys surprised she didn't win?
Barbie?
Yeah.
Well, Barbie won that like outstanding box office award, which was like the new, like, you're super popular. But the fact that it didn't win in the comedy category and instead it was Poor Things, which is Emma Stone's movie, that was that was surprising. That was definitely
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. So you were surprised by that.
Yeah, for sure.
There was one show that kept coming up where I was like, I didn't know anybody who liked it, and that was Beef. And I just think that's where you go, I know, like, maybe it's like a sense of humor thing, but literally everybody we talked to was like, I didn't really like Beef that much. Barely anybody watched it in the circles I run. And then anybody who did was like, I didn't really like it. People kept saying it kind of gave me anxiety and all this stuff, but it's
a very anxious show.
And it won so many awards last night.
A week from today are the Primetime Emmys from last season. Remember, this will be from the 22-23 season that were delayed because of the strike. I'm very curious to see, because we noticed it was Succession's night, it was Beef's night, it was the Bears night. These are the three shows now to watch. How will that resonate on Monday's Primetime Emmys too? Because we've had the voting for the Primetime Emmys happened this summer, where the voting for the Golden Globes happened more recently. Really curious.
Do you think people will ever be allowed to be funny again?
Yes, I think everything is cyclical. So
yeah,
we see trends come back. I mean, we've just swung in one direction, and the Golden Globes doesn't know what it wants to be after all of their controversy with their membership and everything else and new ownership. I'm sure everyone today at Penske is going to be looking at the ratings. I mean, it was all hands on deck. All of us were working last night in some capacity, even if you were someone who doesn't cover movies and TV and you cover more like the industry aspect, you were on and working last night. So this was a really big deal for them, and they've put a lot of effort into it. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out. They only had a 1-year deal for CBS broadcast. So the ratings are bad. What happens? Where do they go?
Has there ever been an award show that just went away?
I mean, like, I think some of like the Blockbuster movie awards went away, but not any of the big industry ones.
I don't remember the Blockbuster movie awards.
They had them back in the day when VHS was king.
You just talked about, what was it? Was it the soap awards that you said that went down from a big venue to a small? So that might be turned into kind of a whisper eventually.
Well, that's a daytime Emmy Award, so it's under the Emmys umbrella, which is interesting. And they have gone into smaller and smaller venues. Honestly, I think that they should take the daytime Emmys and do it, because this weekend, by the way, on top of Golden Globes was also the Creative Arts Emmys, which was the all of like below the line, all of like sound and picture editing and things like that. Those are the ones that had their ceremony this weekend. Maybe sort of wrap the daytime Emmys in with the Creative Arts Emmys and do a 4-night production like they do, because Creative Arts Emmys are already 2 nights. You already have the setup. You've got the big venue. Why not give that to the daytime Emmys? That's just my opinion.
Back to Ms. Catherine Brandt. I used to watch the Oscars. I used to watch all the award shows. Because I always enjoyed going to the movies. I enjoyed watching television, all the rest of it. I met Catherine Brandt all those years ago, 42 years ago now. And the first thing that happened was, because it was not the first thing, but one of the first big. She said, "How can you watch those award shows? They're the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life." And I kind of went, she's right in a way, because I watch it every year and I'm always disappointed with how things go. Some people just don't like to watch award shows. How are they going to keep without the Johnny Carsons of the world or somebody like that? Is there one person they could get who would, I don't know, maybe even do it? Is there one person they could get everybody go, "Oh my God, I got to tune in because this person's doing it"?
The Rock. The Rock.
Yeah, probably The Rock. That's probably true, but he's not funny.
He's tried for years, and his schedule is jam-packed, because he's just someone that, like, he's not going to be like super, super funny, but he'll do the bits, he'll do the sketches. In general, people like him. People don't get too political on either side about him. So he would be someone that people would tune into. And he's also globally known. That's the other thing. Yeah. Golden Globes are an international award show.
Right.
Do people know Joe Coy overseas? I mean, maybe in the UK. I don't know. I don't know if he's like famous in Asia or anything else. Well, he's Filipino.
He's Filipino. He has a very large, I would say, like an Asian market and demographic, which is one of the reasons why he's so big here.
Yeah.
Is he big here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He sells out arenas.
Oh, does he really? I didn't know that. I mean, like I said, I've met him several times. He's a great guy. I don't know if I ever thought he was that funny.
He came out of Chelsea Handler's show. Like, that's where I first, and then they dated during the pandemic. That's how I kind of got reacquainted with him. But he's had some very successful, I think it's Netflix. He's got his stand-up, right?
Yep. Yeah. I think he's got a couple of
a couple specials there. I mean, that honestly, Netflix has done a great thing for stand-up comedy, because I kind of like, other than late night shows, I kind of pushed it out of my mind until Netflix started really doing a good job with doing stand-up comedy specials, and all of a sudden you're like, that's where I discovered Ali Wong. I wouldn't have known Ali Wong otherwise.
Love her. I absolutely love Ali Wong. We went to, what was the name of that Chinese place that we went to with Ali Wong back in the day on 26th Avenue in Nicollet? God,
called?
You guys know that 26th and Nicollet, there was a great Chinese restaurant there, but I can't remember the name of it. But Ali Wong came to town and we invited her to dinner because she didn't know anybody and nobody knew her and all the rest. It was right at the beginning of her stand-up career. And so we went to dinner that night, and he spectacularly nice person. She's a very nice.
Looks like Jasmine 26.
She won.
There you go.
She won an award for that show Beef. Which I don't deny that they're both actors that won Best Actors in was the show Beef for the categories are wild. They're like limited series, also a musical, also it could be a comedy, but also it could be a doc. Like, they're just like wild.
It's an anthology, limited series, or television movie,
or dog documentary.
That is the actual category. It's television movie, anthology, or limited series.
So her and her co-star won for Beef. And there was this weird controversy around it because she gave her boyfriend a kiss, who's Bill Hader. And then when she went up there and was saying all of her thanks, she gave her, she said, "The father of my kids, I couldn't do this without him." And then they cut to Bill Hader and he goes to the guy next to him like, "What the heck?" Like, didn't get any shout out for the girlfriend, which is probably him being silly, but the whole internet was like, "Ooh."
I think it was him being silly because this was their big couple debut, and they didn't do the red carpet together. We were looking for those photos too, and I'm like, they didn't do the red carpet. But I was telling Bill last night, and I was like, do you know that like Bill Hader is like the guy in Hollywood? He's like the new David Spade of dating. He has dated Rachel Bilson, and then he dated Anna Kendrick, and then he's with Ali Wong. I'm like, since his divorce, he has been like the guy to date. And Bill goes, he's got a type. He's like, they're all petite and brunette. I'm like, you're right.
They do have a type. Yeah.
He has a type.
No, it's very true. He's another guy. I know that I tried my best. I think, Tevin, I talked to you about this. I could not make it through that series he did. I thought it got very boring.
What series was this?
Barry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Season 1 is so funny.
Yep.
And then season 2, you're like, what are we doing here? Because if you are an assassin, how can you be in a community for this long without people being like, excuse me? Like everyone around you is dying. It's like the Dexter of shows where you go, you can't sustain this. There's the formula alone you're gonna run out of humans.
You have to suspend disbelief in the whole thing. Like you have to lean into that. But Henry Winkler's so good.
I love Henry Winkler. You're absolutely right.
It kind of reminds me of
in Hollywood.
There's this one show we watched, Santa Clarita Diet.
Yes.
Sounds very similar, where it's this woman who turns into a zombie, and basically the whole thing is like them trying to find people for her to eat.
Yeah.
But it's a comedy.
Yeah. It in the first season was amazing. Didn't you love it the first season, Andy?
Yeah, it got not so good at the end. I will
like
say
the
that
second
much.
season, I was like, yeah, how can we sustain this? You know, a classic one too that's like that is Weeds. Weeds was like after you sell drugs to everyone in your neighborhood and get caught, and then you move. I guess it was just kind of like, oh, I guess you can't sustain this plot. Some of those really like Breaking Bad did it well. They did a plot where you said, okay, like there's rhyme and reasoning, and also there is a clear ending to him, and like you accept that. But I don't think shows know how to accept that their plot, especially when it's kind of zany and extreme, only has a limited amount of time. So we're like, yeah, now this is insane.
Yeah. Or Kristen, how far out do they write usually those shows? Because there are, like Brittany, you're saying, where like the plot doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're like, I think this was something where they planned on having this run for 3 seasons, and now all of a sudden they're trying to stretch it out to 5, and it gets crazy. How far out do they usually look?
That happens. Some creators will come and pitch a show and say, listen, this is a 4-season show. I have the complete beginning, middle, and end, and it cannot go any more than that. And some people have it open-ended. And I think when you have it open-ended, we could probably all name shows where you go, they just needed to wrap it up. Because, by the time, Mad Men, I hated the ending on season 7. I will die on that hill. Even Gilmore Girls, you look at it and that didn't wrap up the way. And that's why we got kind of like that revival. Like there's certain shows you're like, it could have been a solid 5-season show. And so when you do get that perfect ending, which I always will say Schitt's Creek had a perfect ending.
Yes.
Succession. Yeah. The shows that had the perfect ending that you go, that makes exact sense for how you started the series, how you continued it, and you wrapped it up exactly as it should. Those are few and far between because I think you get caught up in the money. If you're like, well, I get to do a show for another year and make another $500,000. Great.
One of my favorites of all time, The Office. I think the last season of The Office probably shouldn't have happened.
I would
once
say
Steve Carell left, he was the show.
Yeah, last 2 to 3 seasons of The Office, I could say we could skip, but I'll still watch them just because
they weren't bad, but there
was funny parts. I'll say that. Tom, Kieran Culkin won for Best Supporting or something like that.
From Succession?
Yes. His speech, you would love it. It was so funny and so him. I swear to God, that man in the show Succession is literally just playing himself. It was so, oh God, it was funny.
Catherine and I are only on season 2.
Yeah. Well, I'm jealous because I wish I could go back and I give myself a head injury and rewatch it. It's such a fun show.
And if anyone sees there's a funny behind the scenes bit, Kieran went to the press room and got into sort of the press area and started asking questions of his castmates. And there was a whole little back and forth that's floating around on the internet. That's really cute. So.
See, I would love that, I think. And what I really like is you guys, when you find out I've only watched about half of the seasons that you watched, you don't burn them down for me, so I appreciate that.
Never.
Especially when it's a good quality show like that, where you're like, no, I want you to have that same experience I did.
Yeah.
Like the only time I was grateful is when I mentioned I was watching Mr. Robot, and Brittany goes, "Oof, wait till you get a little further."
Oh, great.
But again, my Botox had worn off, so my face kind of did it automatically, so I couldn't hide that I was disgusted in your
You have to be like, wait,
Yeah,
say it again.
I got to the third episode and I was like, now I get what Brittany was talking about. We're just gonna end this right here.
I never watched that. It was good.
The first episode, I was like, this might be the greatest television show that's ever been created. It's awesome. And then the second episode, it was a train wreck. And I tried to get through the third episode and I was like, nah, I can't do this anymore.
Really?
Oh, it's like people started becoming imaginary and he's it's just, it was so out of left field that I was like, I can't.
Well, there are certain shows. So what I do for a long time is I would be playing a game and watching a show at the same time. But usually the game was like, a World of Warcraft or something that you can just kind of zone out and play. So you're really paying attention to the show, but you're keeping your hands busy. Mr. Robot was one of the shows where when I think about it, what I remember most is grinding in this one specific place in World of Warcraft while the show plays in the background rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
I'll say that much.
There you have it.
It just got like, I just stopped caring. And eventually I was like, wow, I am not even, it's been 3 episodes and I haven't paid attention to one word. Maybe I should stop listening.
Not a bad plan.
Or you could do the Tom's plan. It's 4 minutes in. It's not good. He's out.
Yeah.
Well, I did that with John Wick 4 3 times, but then I eventually, because Catherine was there, we watched it all the way through and really enjoyed it. I really did.
I give things a chance, but it's like if I start watching it, I'm going to watch it for a decent amount of time. But I'm also more likely to just not watch even 1 second of something if I don't find it interesting.
Right.
It's like if I'm like, maybe not, I'm just never going to watch it.
No question. I have a question for all of you. Talking about Joe Coy, and like I said, I like Joe Coy. I don't know if he was ever the funniest person I've ever seen and all the rest of it. But can you imagine the day when Richard Pryor would have walked out to host the Golden Globes? Can you even imagine that in your head, Richard Pryor hosting?
It probably would have been the funniest 3 hours ever.
Ever. But everybody would have been pissed off like there's no tomorrow. He went after everyone.
I don't think people get that pissed off, though. Like, that's why I think Ricky Gervais works so well.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't take yourself too seriously because this is a self-congratulatory night. So if you're going to take yourself too seriously as people make fun of you, in a funny way, if it's done well, of course. Like when Ricky Gervais did it, he did it well. And I think that's why when Joe Coy was even like making fun of like Barbie or like Taylor, you're like, wrong joke.
He should
right person to talk about, wrong joke,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I mean, I don't watch the award shows. I didn't watch last night because I just don't want it. I don't watch them. I don't care who wins an award. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know. They're just, to me, they're never entertaining and they're never funny.
Yeah, they're big business to Los Angeles, though, and that's why they keep doing them too. They are a huge economy generator for us between things that you don't even think about: dry cleaners and restaurants and hotels and limos and all those things, hair, makeup, fashion. And it actually translates. I actually just wrote an article this morning before the show, just talking about how the fashion that we see, like Golden Globes, is kind of setting the tone of like what we're all going to be wearing for the next year or so. It's like for women, the side part is back. We've been hearing like you have to have a middle part to look young. Nope. Side part was all we saw on the red carpet. Sounds stupid, sounds frivolous, but that's exactly what's going to wind up happening in terms of hairstyles. Or you look at like colors that are happening on the red carpet. All of those trends factor into other areas of our lives that we don't necessarily even think about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alex, do you ever see John Wick 4?
No.
Doesn't seem like you're kind of
not exactly my kind of
thing. You would think Dan would like to watch it.
No,
he's not really into that kind of thing either.
It's just so over the top.
It is over the top.
Very over the top.
Yeah, it's just not either of our. I don't know. I saw the first one. And
Yeah, we all did.
That was enough for me. I was
yeah.
with you guys, and I'm good.
If you watched 4 after watching 1, you would no longer think that 1 was over the top. You'd be like,
right,
like
That
4 takes it to a whole new level. Yeah.
Push it. I have something that might be up Alex's alley. They are now making Purple Rain into a Broadway show.
No
God.
way. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Which I think is really interesting. If anyone has not seen Purple Rain, the movie?
I have not.
I've seen
Tevin, Andy, what Tevin?
Well, Andy, of course. Tevin.
Yes.
Tevin.
I'm no surprise.
Come on,
when
man.
did it come out?
Tevin, that is your homework. Okay, I'm going to give you all of January. Okay, you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's playing. You're going to have to find it somewhere. But it's
worth the
1984. I mean, probably one of the greatest soundtracks ever. And but I look at that movie and I go, how do you make that into a stage show? Because that movie was pretty edgy, even in 1984.
Right.
Yeah.
But it will sell very well. I mean, MJ the musical, even despite Michael Jackson's controversies, has always done well. In fact, it's right here in Los Angeles right now, the national tour. I think that they will probably have a jackpot on their hands.
Oh, totally.
Sounds good to me. All right, that's going to do it. You were right. I do apologize. I should have listened to you 10 months ago and seen John Wick 4.
I'm glad I have an effect on you 10 months later.
10 months later. All right. We will talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
We'll take a break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back and wrap things up right after this. Kristyn Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Right back right after this.
This is the Tom Barnard Show. Listen live at tombarnardshow.com or on the Tom Barnard Show app.
Tom here, and I want to discuss a partnership that has been wonderful in my life, Zero Res Carpet Care. Very good friends of mine. Nothing is better to someone with a family than having a completely clean home. Your carpet is the biggest filter in your house. If you want to talk about pet dander or foot traffic, dirt from the outside, they all eventually reside in your carpet. So, Zero Res Carpet Care. Listen, around the holidays, you need to contact ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 952-ZEROREZ. That's 952-ZERO-RES. They clean your home with their electrolyzed pH-elevated water that doesn't use chemicals or soaps that smell like a janitor's closet like other cleaning services. How about a Tom Barnard deal? Well, here it is. Get 3 rooms, 0 resified, starting at $129, and don't forget your air ducts. Mention me, and they'll discount your air vents by $75 too. This is for the entire month, so call them right now, 952-0-RES, backward or forwarded, spells the same, or book online, ZeroResMinnesota.com. If it's available, ask for them to come to your place in the Tom Barnard named service truck. What an honor that was, by the way. Just mention me by name and get the special deal to get your home clean and your heart happy. Zero Res Carpet.
This is Bob Sansevier, and I want to tell you about Dave Bialki from Bialki Law. Dave represented my wife, Mary, when she had a significant workplace injury. She was very happy with the job Dave did. If you have a work-related injury and have Dave represent you, I'm betting you'll be happy too. Dave is a down-to-earth guy. He grew up in northern Minnesota, rides a Harley, and worked various jobs doing concrete, electrical, plumbing, roofing, and carpentry work. Dave works for people with work-related injuries. If you work construction, or anywhere for that matter, and you're hurt or even just hurting, you should talk to Dave. Let's face it, our bodies wear out. If your body is worn out from work, if your knees or back or shoulders hurt from things you do at work, do what Mary did. Call Dave and talk to him about it at Bialki Law to set up a free initial consultation. The number to call is 763-571-2410. That's 763-571-2410. Or visit bialkilaw.com. That's BIALKE law.com.
You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, legal issues, banking, and more. The same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you. Josh Arnold. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation, 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That is 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did. And tell him his guy, Tom, sent you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
They're wrangling. They're wrangling Ethan.
Yes, indeed.
He wanted to sit on my lap for the rest of the show.
I mean, we have 1 minute. Let him do it.
Yeah, for real.
That's close enough.
He had to tell us about the apple he just ate.
But he did. He ate an apple, so he's very excited. Maybe I'll just go with the headline here, or maybe I'll do the story. It's up to you guys. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Headline: Peak laziness. Alexa's the thing you have in your house, right, Alex?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
What is it? You ask it questions, or what is it actually called?
It's
Alexa.
Yeah, it's Amazon's thing.
It's Amazon Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this then, because the headline reads, "Peak laziness. Alexa can now wash your butt for you."
Oh, thank God.
Oh, I have a feeling that means there's
Link
an Alexa-enabled bidet.
Yeah, link it to your bidet.
God. I'm so
Really?
I have a
That'd
bidet.
be my
but
guess.
I'm so tired of turning the little knob to make my bidet work, and I'm just really thankful.
No, it hurts my finger.
You're worn out.
I'm exhausted. Look at
I
me. I'm
understand.
exhausted.
All right. Will 2024 be the year America reaches peak laziness? Yeah, this might help us get there. You can now ask Alexa to clean your butt for you. The annual Consumer Electronics Show starts tomorrow in Las Vegas, and the bathroom brand Kohler is pushing a new bidet that connects to Alexa or Google Home to offer voice-activated butt washing. Once she's done washing your butt, you can also ask her to turn on the drying feature to dry it off for you.
Drying feature.
There's a drying feature as well.
That's not typical of a bidet.
No, that's a nice. That's not like you can just put in and go. Like we have the one that we bought from somewhere online that you just add to your toilet. I think the drying feature has to kind of be either extra or incorporated in your toilet. That's a pretty high end.
Like the Dyson Airblade, except for butts. Yeah.
Oh, I love that for me.
I had never seen a bidet in my life until
Mm-hmm.
Florida. Florida, they're in like every house.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
they
there
had
are.
one in Florida. I
That's
remember.
right.
Yeah.
They're in like every single house in Florida. And Minnesota, it's like you don't see them. And it's like a separate bidet. It's like,
like a
toilet
other,
and then the bidet is
You gotta go over there.
get up and transfer with a dirty booty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And- but here's the thing I don't understand about bidets. Everything. Why is
They don't
people's
seem like
butts
my kind
that
of thing.
dirty? Are you not wiping? Like I don't get it. Because
Okay,
then you
so-
use it and then your butt's sopping wet. And then you have to use toilet paper, which is not good for like water, tons of water. It's falling apart.
You're not using it correctly. Also, I can tell like you are somebody who has a very systematic poop, and good for you, because I have somebody near and dear to me who's doesn't have, it's not as cut and dry as that. And also you can use them for like a mini
Brush your teeth? Like what?
no
Yes.
Like a water pick, yeah.
thank you. Pretty much is what I'm trying to say, is that you could use it as a what is it called? Enema, like a mini enema for people that
sounds
need to.
painful.
It's not like, okay, so there's people that have trouble going to the bathroom, and that helps initiate that. I could go into detail because I've worked with so many people that have needed bidets or needed that like cleanliness. But the thing is like pooping is an experience that is individualized for each and every one of us. And there are some people that find benefits in bidets for sure.
I'm just imagining you having your Alexa hooked up to your bidet and it not working. So you're just in your bathroom screaming like, Alexa, wash my ass.
This is a big controversial thing in my household. My husband loves voice activated things, and I can't stand them. I can't stand that. Like if I was Alex was at my house and we're having like a heart to heart, and I'm telling her about like, you know, my mom just passed away. Alexa, turn on the light.
Yeah.
Alexa, I just hate it. I want to just walk over and do the switch. I'm so many things in our house you have to yell at her, and I'm so over it. Like that is not the life I want to lead.
Well, we have like a good combination thing where it's an app on your smartphone. You can put the widget on your home screen and then just tap on the light. It'll turn on. Then you don't even have to get up.
Hate it.
We have like the most basic Alexa situation ever. It's just there. And
You don't have smart anything, do you?
No, we have smart nothing.
I
And
love
I'd like
that.
to keep it
Oh,
that
wait,
way.
you have the Nest, right? The furnace thingy?
Yeah, but it's not connected to our Alexa.
Oh.
You can't shout at it to change the temperature. You have to go up and change it.
We could with ours, but we don't because
I'm sure we could, but like it's not that hard to just get up and do it.
Exactly.
No.
The moment I realized things were getting over-engineered, Tom, is when we got a washer and dryer that said, "Hey, it can hook this right up to your phone." And I said, "In what scenario would I full on load my washer with dirty clothes, run out of my house, get in my car, and be like, oh yeah, I forgot to turn it on, and then turn it on from my phone?"
That doesn't make any sense.
But
But here's
that
the thing. I'm super nice to Alexa. Anytime I ask her to do anything, I say please, because when the robots take over, they will remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always was polite.
And they talked, Alex, about connecting rude children back to their ability to yell at an Alexa. So, like, if you teach your kids, they have to say please and thank you to Alexa.
Yep.
It might help in the long run.
You're like one of those people who, if you played video games, you couldn't be like a dark side Jedi because you couldn't be mean to the pretend people in the video game.
I can't even play video games because the idea of people being mean to me in a video game, no thank you.
Well, as a disclaimer, I will say I am also that person.
I am as well.
Being a dark side player, I can't do it. I'm just like,
never.
You go up to some random person, they're like, oh, my Wookiee ran away, and you have to be just like, up yours.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
That should be like a parental control on all of the AI features. Like where if you don't ask it, politely,
that's
it's
a
like,
good idea.
Can you say please and thank you? And then maybe I'll turn on the light for you.
I had our Alexa programmed. This is as like smart home-y as I ever got. They learned some songs from some cousins.
Yep. I remember.
From the artist was Mr. Farts.
Mr. Farts.
Well, because they would just randomly say, like, play the poopy fart song, and then it would like try its best, and it would always find something.
Yes. And so they would ask it to play Mr. Farts, and you can go in on your phone, and like when you say certain words to it, you can program her response.
Yep.
And I had her programmed to say absolutely not when they would say
that is so Alex answer.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
and they would
not.
like the first couple of times they were like, and I was like, she must hate it as much as I do.
Just think of it. Sorry.
All of a sudden, Baby Shark, never again. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty slick.
Okay, I'll close with this question because I just saw it this morning when I got up. There's a new thing, and it's either called Miracle Floss or Miracle. I think it's called Miracle Floss. It's got 2 prongs that go up and 2 prongs go down. You put it in your mouth, push a button, and it comes up on your teeth. And as you move it back and forth, it flosses your teeth. This thing, I got to get one. I mean, this thing looks magnificent.
Yeah, I see it. The Miracle Smile Water Flosser.
Yeah, Miracle Smile Water Flosser.
I was gonna say, if it's floss coming in out of your teeth, that's just asking for
horrible.
like gum swelling.
I used a water pick once, and it looked like I had become a vampire with all the amount of blood that was coming out of my gut.
You had it cranked up too high, Brittany.
I had it cranked up far. I just thought halfway is appropriate, and then I was like, no. I learned right quick that I was not built for this.
One of the great things about all time, and then their TV commercial, because I saw the TV commercial this morning. Was it the Miracle Smile?
Miracle Smile.
Miracle Smile. They would show people's teeth, and there'd be all this crust and dirt and food and all that stuff up in here and down in here. They put the Miracle Flosser in there. She go, rrr, 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 rrr. Beautiful white, just shining teeth. It was just
straighter somehow.
It removes all the granite and stuff from
Their
your teeth.
depression is
Turns them into perfect teeth.
All right, we better. Oh my God, we better wrap it up. Brittany's got a life. Devin's got a life. I mean, my God. That is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll be right back in a few minutes with the Family Show. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! You have all helped support MyPillow and their employees in these tough economic times. Mike Lindell knows this and continues to give back to listeners with great deals on his most popular products. Right now, you can save 50% on Queen and King pillows and the original My Slippers, and the MyPillow 6-pack bath towel sets are back in stock. The proprietary technology makes them extremely absorbent, yet still provides that soft feel you look for in a towel. Set comes with 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. Regular price is $79.98. And for a limited time, you can get this 6-pack towel set for only $39.99 with promo code TOM. That's a 50% savings. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TOM to save 50% on the MyPillow 6-pack towel sets. That is just $39.99 for a set. This deal will not last long. Enter promo code TOM for this special and many more.
Recently, Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC was contacted by a company that does on-site sales. Jim was confused.
Wait, they don't know anything about us, our staff, our reputation, most importantly, our customers.
Hey, pal, no problem. We do them all over the country. You know, get the manager off the roof sale, inflatable gorilla sale, and our favorite, the 13-hour sale with a giant clock that goes to 13. Urgency, baby. We bring our crew because, well, your people are, let's just say, a little laid back.
And the pricing?
Nothing special, sport.
But Jim thought we price competitively every day. Our prices are special. We definitely don't need these guys. But sale does convey some urgency, so we made a bold decision for his fine dealerships.
Announcing the Valley Buick GMC 365-day sale. And we can even extend it a couple years or so.
I got the air dancer guy, scratch offs, plastic keys, bubble machine.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Hurry.
You know the song Kokomo? It's supposed to be off the Florida Keys, right? Hate to break your Beach Boys bubble, but that's a fictitious place they made up for the song. Fortunately for the rest of us, the Florida Keys island chain are as real as the taxes you have to pay in Minnesota if you're a resident. Now that's a reason to move south. In addition to Florida and all of Monroe County being beautiful, the Keys from Key Largo to Key West are even more beautiful. This is Tom Barnard, part-time Florida resident myself. And if you want a second house or a new retirement home or want to become a Floridian, may I suggest you contact Matt Carlson from One Key West Realty. Matt grew up in Litchfield. He's a super real estate agent when it comes to finding your tropical island space in the Keys. He lives there and here, and Matt knows what's best in Key West to buy. For your second home in Florida, Matt teamed up with fellow Minnesotan from Sartell and Alexandria, Kristen Eklund, who's one of the top mortgage brokers in the country from Coast to Coast Mortgage. She'll get you the financing you need to buy a home in Florida or in Minnesota. Matt's part of the Lake Sotheby's International Realty Group here in Minnesota, and Kristen, his mortgage colleague, lives and works in the Keys, so they both know the Florida Keys' new and existing homes for sale and are Minnesotan through and through. Contact them by heading to onekeywest.com. That's onekeywest.com.
Tom Barnard is back. Every weekday, you'll hear Tommy B, Brittany Arneson. Yes, that Brittany Arneson. Along with Tom's pals, Kent Herbeck on Fridays, Bob Sansevier, Mike Stretch Gelfand, Tim Lammers, and from Channel 5 Eyewitness News, Chris Egert and Kristen Burt on entertainment and pop culture. It's Tom and the crew with opinions on news, opinions on life, opinions on entertainment, and of course, opinions on other people's stupid opinions. The Tom Barnard Show is a podcast, so you can listen when you want to listen. In the car, on the way to or from work, at home, on the job site, or wherever you need your Tommy B Show fix. Hear the show on the Tom Barnard Show app in your app store, as a podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts, or see it on YouTube on the Tom Barnard Show channel.
Welcome to the family. They're not going to be on the microphone.
What are you doing?
Welcome to the family with
Alex Bernard Rasmussen,
Tevin Pittman,
Andy Bernard, and who else? Who are you?
Daddy.
Your daddy?
Yeah, he's daddy.
You're a daddy. I didn't know you were a daddy. No, that's daddy's microphone. Okay. So what's happening?
I don't know. You guys playing? It looks like I'm observing you guys playing musical chairs, and we have a new Ethan making his debut as co-host. It looks like.
Yeah, he's a co-host. Ethan is with us. Ethan, are you the co-host?
Is mom coming in for this?
I think mom's coming in, or is she not?
She will.
Oh, she will. Okay. Now what happened? The reason that Ethan's in the room is that we were out in the near the kitchen, and he was running around with a little truck, and he wasn't paying attention where he was going. Ran his head right into the wall.
Yep, as children do.
As children do. But then Bop Bop saved you, didn't I? Oh no! Oh God! Oh, that was loud.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was very, very loud.
We didn't hear it.
Yeah.
No, he just cranked up Dad's headphones.
Oh, he jacked my.
Oh, fun.
Loud. Stop it.
Loud.
Yeah, loud. That's right.
When you yell, it is loud.
The only thing is, we don't have a third set of headphones.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
What's
So
wrong with
you
that?
did it all last year with.
I kind of like having these family shows. It's very distracting.
It's a lot.
If you know what I'm saying.
People like it.
Going on.
What can I tell you?
No, people do like it. Why wouldn't they like having their family buddies?
It gives you a look at what life is really like. It's not a perfectly produced. Everybody's in their spot at the time. It's
Oh, I would hate that anyway.
There's no perfect production around here.
Never has been, never will be.
Is this thing working?
No,
Why not?
his microphone doesn't work. I don't know why it doesn't.
We can share one until you figure it out later.
Ooh, the two of you going to share a mic? Now we're talking.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, there now it works.
Yeah.
Oh, must have been a loose connection.
Oh, yeah, now it works.
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
might need a new
there you go.
new cable for this mic. But
Yeah.
hey, it works for now.
There you go.
See, like I said, everybody get
Seems
all
to be
worried.
good enough.
It has to sound very professional.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Hurricane Ethan hit the shores of what is with
He did.
2-year-olds? Why are they
They're
so
an interesting breed.
crazy people?
It is all true. So, Alex, what's the latest? You just came in. What's going on?
What is going on? I can't think of anything. I don't know.
How
Nice
bad?
shirt.
How bad was it snowing when you came in?
The snow was not bad, but people were driving like the entire state is just black ice.
I
So it took me so long to get here. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm gonna have to leave a little early, I think, to get to school on time because if people are driving as they were when I got
I
here,
bet.
You should just ski home.
I could. My kids started skiing lessons yesterday. Or
There
ski
you
club.
go.
I remember, I don't know what year that was, but we had an ice storm that was so thick that my roommate at the time, she ice skated from Hopkins to the old Finger Hut location out there on 169.
Okay.
She ice skated the whole way on the highways or
Yeah.
on the side streets, I
I
should
bet.
say. That's how icy it was.
Your
It was
phone-
ridiculous.
Your headphone, your mic doesn't sound great.
My mic doesn't
There.
sound
Now
Yeah,
it's
you're
good.
too far
Ah.
away.
I upped it.
good. Job, Andy.
There's a lot of things I need to deal with over here.
That's why he's
That's why
here.
you're here.
Yep.
To tee it all up, ladies and gentlemen, the reason we're all here is because of Kostaki Economopoulos. That's why we showed up to do this show today.
Hey, I just opened up your Christmas card today.
Oh, cool.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Beautiful family.
Thank you. I wasn't able to get a single photo that all of us would agree on, so I had to do a few,
Yeah,
a
that's
few
all right.
pairs.
That's how it usually goes.
Now there's a teenage girl in my life, so
Oh,
that sounds
Dad.
creepy.
You get a lot of that. Dad.
Yeah, don't show that picture to anybody. I get that. Don't post that one. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So Kostaki, would you consider yourself my true friend?
Sure.
It's quite the loaded question.
Not that you're on the spot at all.
I'm just asking a
You need
question.
some money, Tom? What's happening?
No, don't need any money.
Oh,
No,
that's right. We have to pay him.
I still
Oh, I
have
need
the
money.
bill.
That's right. Are you my true friend, Tom?
Yeah, I guess like, whenever I get the bill, I'll have to figure it out. Am I his friend or not? Oh, you have the bill?
Well, yeah, there was a thing.
There was a thing.
We're okay. It's all okay.
Okay, we'll take care of it.
Thing.
By the way, my lovely wife, Catherine, asked me if she could use my checkbook this morning. So I brought both of them, one business and one personal. I don't know what happened to them. They just disappeared now.
Oh, that's right. And Ethan is here. So we should probably figure out where those are.
Yeah, that might
You need to
not be a
start-
bad idea.
Rip.
You need to start putting everything up high.
Mm-hmm.
We do. Oh, believe me, we already had to do that at
He can reach a lot of stuff
He sure
already.
can.
Oh, I know. He's
Put everything up.
he's a
Yeah.
big kid.
He's probably got like a 4-foot reach already.
Yeah,
He does.
you think it's safe, but nope, there
Got
he
some
is.
vertical.
No question. All right. Well, I'll track Catherine down and we'll get that taken care of today because I didn't know we got the bill yet. But now I know. So that's good.
Here, I'm tracked down right here.
That's what I'm saying. We tracked her down. So what's happening with you, Kostaki?
Well, I want to know. I want to know. I want to see if I passed the friend test. What was that? What's happening?
Oh yeah.
True friend
Are
thing.
you my true friend? You said.
I'm your true friend.
No, I forgot.
Oh.
Can you turn up his mic a little bit?
Is it me?
Yeah, probably on your end, Kostaki. If
I could be a little tighter on the mic. No problem. Test.
I just want to be able to all your adoring fans be able to hear you. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. I guess my question for you was, can you do an entire report without mentioning the VIKINGS?
I think so. I might have to mention the FALCONS, but we don't have to mention your team. My team fired their coach last night. They couldn't even wait till Black Monday. They were like, "Get out of here!" Sunday night.
They fired him last night.
Last night, I got an alert at like 10:40 Pacific. I was like, "Okay, all right."
You think there's any chance the Vikings will clean house?
Yeah, I do, but I think they're gonna stay the course. I think they'll probably bring back Kirk Cousins and do this whole thing one more year.
He's never won anything.
I know, but you're not rooting for the Falcons. You don't understand how bad it could be.
How bad it gets.
There's at least 10 or 15 teams that have a quarterback worse than Kirk Cousins. So, he's definitely like kind of in the middle there. Maybe the bottom of the first tier. I don't know. Depends how you define him. He's a good quarterback, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. We on vacation last year, he was at the same restaurant we were. I didn't realize he was so thin. He's tall, but he's very thin.
Right. Yeah. By NFL standards, he's kind of slight. Right.
Yeah, he's slight. Exactly. It's a
took
good way
his
to
shirt
put it.
off to blow the big horn last week or whatever. Had the kid with him.
That's right.
It's like, hey, they let baby New Year blow the horn. This is great.
I'm telling you,
he's a very likable dude. I
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Dan a few days ago came up to me and he's like, "Have you seen these recent Kirk Cousins highlights?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And it goes into him in he's in a barbershop quartet. He's in a musical. He's singing.
Oh, right.
Like apparently when he was in high school, he was very
high
musical.
school. Why is that? I saw the same clip. I don't know why that's out and about now.
Barbershop quartet.
But Dan
Somebody
was like, he's
found
just the
clips of
most
him,
likable guy in
like
the world.
high school drama club. Yeah, it's funny.
But yeah, what Alex just said, I agree. I didn't even talk to him. He was sitting at a couple tables away. But I understand from everybody he's a damn nice person. He's very polite to everybody, and that's nice to hear.
That is nice.
Yeah, right. Especially in the, you hear these stories about knuckleheads in the NFL, and it's nice when you get one of these earnest I made fun of Tim Tebow for 10 years, but he's the nicest guy in the world.
That's what I hear. Yeah,
He was easy fodder.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of interesting subjects with the virginity and the kneeling and the, but he's an earnest dude who does good in the world. I mean, those guys, it's much more fun to make fun of a Johnny Manziel or Antonio Brown, guys like that it seems like they deserve it.
Yeah, I can see that.
So the Falcons fired their coach last night. He's the son of the FedEx founder, so he knows how to quickly send out resumes. He'll be fine.
He got it covered.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If your father would have founded FedEx, do you think you'd still be working?
I've thought this so many times about this guy.
Right.
I mean, I've never been in that situation, so I can only presume that he had it somewhat easy and then decided he needed to make his own mark, but I don't know the story. It might be intimidating and off-putting for your dad to be a giant big shot everywhere you go and you've done nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And now you've done less than nothing. God. Very funny.
That's a fair. Yeah, it's all relative, right? I mean, I dated a famous girl for a while, and that was weird.
Yeah,
I felt like I wanted to have my own. Wanted to have my own thing.
It was Rita Repulsa or whatever, right?
Rita Repulsa.
What was it? Her character's name?
Well, she had a few different characters. She just sent me a clip recently.
The Clarissa.
There was a part
Yeah,
she was.
Clarissa.
There was a part she was up for that was named Mrs. Camel Toe. And she decided not to take that part.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
I don't think I'd want that to
She
be
just
my
sent me
legacy.
the clip of it, which I was like, it's funny.
I was going to Google it to see what that was from, but I don't think I'm going to be Googling
No.
it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's silly comedy. No, I don't know. It's a great question, Tom. I feel like I think if it was me and I'm guessing, I would just take it easy and just live this cushy life.
You would
I think
think.
most of them do, yeah.
But I don't know. It's an interesting question because this is clearly a guy who's been driven to succeed at his chosen craft, and he's done very well. And these last few years have been really bumpy and not so great. But I'm not sure how much of that is his responsibility. But he works hard, and he probably doesn't need to.
I think a lot of it also depends on, how you were raised. Because, for a long time, it's like, a guy makes it big and he expects his sons to continue the family business or whatever, that sort of thing.
Right.
But then eventually it kind of came into like a, we made it so you don't have to work anymore kind of attitude.
Right.
Kind of the opposite of, you got to continue our family's legacy. Now it's like, well, we got ours, so just do whatever that you want.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit like it's the modern version of the king that hands the kingdom off.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like what are the
You don't see that
chances
so much anymore.
that the son in the situation like that, just a random kid, is going to be good at being a king? It's like it's not very likely.
Look at Charles.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah,
there
good
were a
example.
lot of bad kings and queens, so I mean,
And even more so in a corporate world or in a business universe or a creative field where someone is an absolute exception to the rule and is a giant juggernaut at whatever they do, the chance of the kid also being good at that, it's not very likely. And then
Well,
you hand them a giant corporation that they have no idea how to run, whatever.
Well, it's an open secret. And so when you think of like countries where they have businesses that have been handed down family to family for hundreds of years, one of them you probably think of is Japan, because that's like they have the oldest businesses in the world there, and they've been run by the same family for 600 years. But it's an open secret in Japan that what they do is they will. So, Mr. Hashimoto wants to retire. He's 70, but his kid is a moron. So what he does is he'll adopt a 30-year-old to run the family business.
That's right. I read about
So
that.
now it's still in the family because this 30-year-old man is legally his son.
Yeah.
So it's been run by the same family, but it's not.
You pick a good
there's no
manager and
genetic
adopt
lineage.
him? Oh my goodness.
Yep,
I can't imagine.
exactly. They will adopt managers into their family so they can say it's a family business still.
Yeah, they go get a smart kid.
And they've been doing that for hundreds of years.
Wow.
But I have a question. Though. So what if you're the one that comes across as a moron? And then an even bigger kick in the stomach?
Oh, well, I'm sure. Yeah. It's like, well, I got you're my biological son, but I'm going to adopt this strange man.
I'm going to adopt a grown-up just to keep the business from you.
Yeah, I can't feel great, but
no.
I mean, there's also another thing about Japan is they don't really care so much. Like, if you can't do it, then they're going to tell you can't do it and to get the hell out of the way.
Well, look in America, how many gigantic families compared to today, it would be billions of dollars in wealth in the 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes usually the third generation just pisses it all away.
Yeah, it's like
There's nothing
90%
left.
gone by the third generation.
Right.
Who's that family? We were just talking about that. There's a family that just happened to.
Pretty much all of them.
That third or fourth generation came along and literally pissed away hundreds of millions
Anderson
of dollars.
Cooper's family was one of them.
Oh, that's right. It was. Yeah. The Vanderbilts.
Yeah, there was one person that ran the company into the ground. The Biltmores, the people that did the Biltmore.
Mhm.
Oh, that was another family.
They did it too.
It's such a cliche thing to say, but I just can't fathom spending that much money in such a short amount of time. And they're always like, oh, well, they had a drug habit. But it's like, how many drugs are you doing?
Ask Hunter Biden.
Well, it's like, how much?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know.
He's blown through a
This
lot of money.
Probably isn't the right, audience to ask, but it's like, what's the maximum amount you could possibly spend on, like, what's the most expensive drug? Probably Coke. It's got to be up there, right?
Yeah, I would assume. Yeah.
It's like what if you're doing $1,000 a day in Coke, That's still only $365,000 a year. You have $100 million. You know, you can do coke for a long time on $100 million.
Yeah, but you're inviting 100 of your closest
That's
friends.
true. Yeah,
and they're all doing it too.
And they're giving them all SUVs, and
That's like when you're doing that much coke, you're making a lot of other questionable decisions.
Well, that's the classic NFL riches to rags story. Is they make it big in the NFL, and then they buy everyone they know and Escalade, and all of a sudden they don't have money anymore. Where'd it go?
True. Or you get everybody in your mother that's like, I have this great business opportunity where you can invest this money, and they're so prideful that they don't want to admit, like, oh, I got taken advantage of it.
Yeah. Right.
Well, we were talking yesterday about that Connor Lauder, Estee Lauder's grandson. Did you hear about that deal there, Kostaki?
No.
Estee Lauder has a house on Palm Beach, and it's right next to the Breakers Hotel, so everybody knows where it is, right? She made like $60 billion, something like that.
Yeah, I bet.
In her career, or the family has, I guess. And Rush Limbaugh lived on the other side of the Breakers Hotel. And Connor Lauder, the grandson, by the way, the original owner bought the house. And I'm once again talking about the radio guy. Bought the house in 1997 for $3.5 million. Connor Lauder just bought it for $115 million and tore it down.
What?
Tear down.
He bought a tear down for $115 million.
Kyle's very out of date. We need to rip it down.
Yeah.
Wow.
We need to buy a new cable.
Yeah, we got to get a new cable today. But yeah, I mean, you think about that. You're around billion. And by the way, I believe that Estee Lauder Corporation is down about 10. Oh, you going to take off, Alex?
She's out of here.
Listen to this first. Estee Lauder lost $10 billion last year.
That seems
last year.
Yep.
Wow.
How
Yeah,
you
year.
Well, there's a lot of competition in the cosmetics field nowadays.
That is true.
Well, and Estee Lauder's not like a clean brand. And
Oh, it's
people are
not?
spending a lot to clean
Now
beauty.
everybody's worried about hormone disruptors and
yeah.
all this stuff
Well-
in their skincare stuff.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, God, if you read the label of if you read the label of your average skincare product, I'm pretty sure you'll summon at least one demon by accident.
Yeah, maybe.
If you read the label of a lot of things,
Oh yeah, believe me, it's
scary.
crazy. Like we've been reading a lot of labels lately, and sometimes it's like you got two brands of like rice crackers next to each other, and brand one ingredients rice, brand two ingredients it's like 3 pages long,
you know,
and it's like how
And no rice.
if you can make rice crackers out of just rice, then why does this brand need all this extra crap? It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
it's really weird. That's like Fawn wanted a Lunchables
Oh
a little
God,
bit
yeah.
ago because she sees kids in her class eat them.
Right.
And I was like, grab one. If you can read the ingredients, I'll buy you one. And
Ingredient one is ham or ham-like product.
she got like just in the ham portion. I mean, it's like not even giving you
Yeah, all the
over
crap
an
that they
inch
put in
long,
it.
just
Yep.
in the ham. And she was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's gross." And like
Yeah,
I
as
used
a kid, you think, "Oh, I'm eating ham, I'm eating cheese." No, you're eating. Yeah, it's like
I used to have orthorexia, which is like an obsession with healthy eating, and so I've read a lot of labels in my day, and
Yeah.
it's scary. That's why, like certain things now, I just like turn the box away from me because I'm like, I don't want to know what's in this Girl Scout cookie.
Thank you. Yes, once a year.
Right,
Yes,
I thought of a new joke. So I said the summoning a demon thing. The alternative ending is, or one of Kostaki's relatives turns around and says yes.
Oh, there you go.
Mephistopheles comedy? Is that what that is?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you got it figured. That's a good figure.
It's my cousin, sodium lauryl sulfate.
Alex is out of here. She just turned her
She had to leave.
She had to get going. She's got to go to school. She's what is she, a teacher's assistant or something?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know the titles. How do I know the titles? I don't know that stuff.
I'm not sure what the official title is, but all I know is she's molding the minds of the future
Yep.
leaders of America.
She's a mind molder.
Did she
Give me
tell
a
you
thumbs
that?
up. Yeah, she gave me a thumbs up, so she approved.
Yeah, there you go. There you have it. There she goes out the door. So Kostaki, what else is happening, Pally?
Well, we might have to put the Eagles back on the endangered list. What happened to the Eagles?
What did happen?
The first 12 weeks, they look like glorious, unstoppable eagles. In the last 6 weeks, they look like Sam the Eagle from the Muppet Show.
Oh, I love Sam the Eagle.
It's very stern.
It's not very scary.
No.
The Eagles went bad faster than an avocado. Like, I should eat that. Oh, too late.
I like that line. It's a good line.
Wow.
They just fell off a cliff. Lemmings called the Eagles and offered their empathy. The Eagles benched their quarterback. Marcus Mariota came in and threw an interception on the first play, which I believe is called the Falcon. I think that's what that is.
That's the Falcon play. That's what that is.
Come in first play. AJ Brown held a players only meeting at an escape room. Well, they definitely escaped the 1 seed, so that's good.
Was it a lock? Did they had to do the escape room?
They had to get out. Yeah, it was like a team building exercise.
Oh God!
A bunch of football players trying to solve an escape room. I can't even imagine.
Or a math problem.
Yeah, I'll just kick the door in. There. Why do I have to look for clips?
That's right. We're out. Yeah, right. We're good. The Falcons shouldn't try an escape room. They can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. Foxborough, we had a big snow game. We haven't done this series of jokes in a while. I sometimes post this at All Pro Lines on the Facebook page. This game was so white, and then have people fill in the blank. Here we go. You ready? Foxborough snow game. This game was so white, it fought people at Target for a Stanley Cup. See, it was white.
Ooh.
The concession stand was a Cracker Barrel. It was very white. You had to be on the HOA to get in. It was so white. I thought it was an episode of Friends. It was very. A hockey game broke out. It was super white. See, they filmed a Hallmark movie there. It was so white. It complained at a school board meeting.
Oh, I like it.
It's so white. It still does the explosion thing after a fist bump. It was very.
Oh, I hate that so much.
I know.
How about that one?
God, whatever.
That game was so white. When it sings "Sweet Caroline," it adds the "bop bop ba." Reports Belichick and the Patriots are headed for a divorce. Who will get custody of Gronk? I'm worried about the kid.
That's a good point, actually. Because so you do think it's true that he is gone, huh?
Boy, it sure sounds like it. But I also. They can't fire him ungraciously. I mean, he's maybe the best coach of all time and led them to everything.
What,
I don't know.
6 Super Bowls he won?
Wow.
And they were in it
Yeah, I think
pretty
it was,
much every year for 15 years.
God.
I heard they're trying to trade him potentially.
Potentially, he has trade value. There was. I read an article yesterday that he's linked to the Falcons. That would be an
4
interesting
Super
quandary
Bowls.
for me to sort out.
4 Super Bowl championships, 5-time Pro Bowl selections, 4-time first team All Pro selections, 100th anniversary all time team.
Are you talking about Tom Brady?
This is Gronk.
Oh, Gronk, you're talking about. Okay.
So yeah, he did pretty well himself.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, Gronk, Gronk might be the best tight end of all time. Well, they had the best coach of all time and the best quarterback of all time in the worst division of all time. God, I hate the Patriots so much.
You're never going to get over it, are you?
I'm not. They had such a good run. I'm so tired of them.
He's never getting over it.
It's over though. It is so over. Brady's gone. It might fire the coach. They're going to have an early pick because the team was atrocious. They lost. They only scored 3 points yesterday. Oh. It's hilarious to watch now and enjoy it. I saw a headline: Belichick declines to discuss future. Yeah, how is that a headline? That's what he is. That's what he does.
Yeah, always has. Yeah.
And I saw another article. He might do TV instead. He doesn't talk. What? How is he going to do TV? Who's the co-host? Marcel. They just sit there and look at each other.
What? No, you just mentioned something. Oh, go ahead with your joke. Sorry.
No, it's just like Belichick. He's not. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He would be terrible at all of these things. He'd be the world's worst fortune teller. Oh, great Belichick. We'll ever find true love. I'm just focused on this week. On to Cincinnati.
Very good. I'm proud of you.
The Jets snapped a 15-game losing streak against the Patriots. Wow, that took a while. Only took them 4 plays to snap Aaron Rodgers' Achilles.
Oh,
that was faster. That was much.
Where's he
faster.
going? Is he going to stay in New York?
He's staying. He's going to be there next year. I mean,
will he and Jimmy Kimmel sue each other?
Oof. It makes me miss. It makes me long for those days of him being in the darkness retreat. Oh, those few Aaron Rodgers-less days. God. Yeah, that's an interesting story, man. I posted a joke about that, and the comment section went bananas. In a bad way. There is a very deep, dark universe of people who believe firmly that Kimmel is a pedophile. Apparently, it's kind of one of the go-to like conspiracy rumor things online. And most of the list now has come out. He's not on it. He said he was never on it. He never even met the guy. He doesn't. I mean, from his point of view, he's pissed about it. But it's interesting that there's people are convinced that he is an apologist and is hiding stuff from other Hollywood pedophiles.
Really?
He's a big kingpin in this whole process. And apparently there's nothing to this, but man, it's a strong belief in the community. It's fascinating. I had no idea. I never heard of this.
I know it's ridiculous to think of Jimmy Kimmel as being the kingpin of something.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one.
So I don't know. It was fast. It was an education for me this week. I was surprised. I didn't know I was stepping in a hornet's nest. Here's a more fun subject. Tyreek Hill's house caught on fire.
Oh.
Thankfully, no one was injured. Is there anyone on earth more qualified to run from a fire?
True.
Pictures of the house, the big billowy smoke coming out of the roof. It looked like you got a visit from Josh Gordon or something.
I have a question for you. Why is it every year a big-time NFL player's house burns to the ground? It happens every year.
Well, this one in particular started apparently with a child playing with a lighter.
Yes.
So maybe don't give kids lighters for one.
Yeah. There's an obvious lesson here. Use a condom. All right.
That's thinking ahead.
Or a better nanny.
Or a better nanny.
Yeah, that'd be
that's
good.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's definitely a nanny situation.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields said fans are going to be loud because there's not much to do in Green Bay except watch football.
Well,
I like Wisconsin. They drink beer, they eat cheese. Those might be the two things that are better than watching football. I don't know.
Right.
I think it's kind of interesting because you may not know this, but Minnesota's first NFL franchise was not the Minnesota Vikings like everybody thinks it was.
Oh.
You know who it was?
No.
Was the Packers over there for a while? Is that what
Nope.
you're saying?
Nope. But a similar sized town, I will tell you that.
St. Cloud.
Nope, further north. Duluth. And that had Duluth, Minnesota had an NFL franchise. And what was the name? No, it's such a Minnesota name.
Miners.
Nope.
The Duluth coat wearers.
Well, yes, in a way.
Fur traders.
There was a professional football team, an NFL team in Duluth, Minnesota called the Duluth Eskimos.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can look it up.
I love Duluth. Duluth's the first place I ever headlined. I was supposed to be the middle act, and there was some mix-up, and the headliner couldn't make it.
Apparently, they were selling some more. That was the sales manager at Hubbard. I'll have to call him back.
Duluth Eskimos withdrew from the league in 1927. So
1927.
It's been a while.
It lasted 4 years total, it looks like.
They were only called the Eskimos for 26 to 27 season. Before that, they were the Duluth Kellys.
The Duluth Kellys?
After the Kelly Duluth hardware store.
They got a sponsor, so there you go.
Yeah, they did get a sponsor.
Yeah, that's
That's
a different
true.
era. Right.
Yeah, when a hardware store could own a franchise.
Yeah, for real.
Uh-huh. Right. A single hardware store in a small town. Right.
Oh, that's kind of sad when you look at
It's
it
a
that
different
way,
era.
now, isn't
It
it?
was 100 years
No,
ago.
it's a different world. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, sure is.
What can one say?
So who's going to win, Tom? What are you rooting for?
Who's going to win? What?
Playoffs. The 20 worst teams are out of it now. Now we get to relax and just watch and enjoy. What do you want to happen?
There was a team at one time in Minnesota, wasn't there? In the NFL, other than the Duluth Eskimos.
I think the Vikings are actually withdrawing this year. We withdrew about halfway through the year this year.
We're handing in our Gallarhorn.
Yeah, our Gallarhorn's got to go away. Now, at who do I think? I have no opinion on who's. I got to be honest with you, Kostaki. I literally steered away from the NFL as much as I could this year because the Vikings were so horrible.
Yeah,
they ended up at 7-10. Doesn't sound that bad, but that team sucked. They never had a quarterback all year.
Yeah, I have the same problem with the Falcons. They never were competitive really ever. But they managed to win several games to keep from getting the top pick. It's just the most frustrating outcome over and over and over again.
That's exactly the point. You're 7-10. You absolutely sucked, but you get the 11th or 13th choice or something like that.
Yeah, I think the Falcons are 8th. Yep, it's the same problem. Yeah.
Joe wants me to ask about a player whose name I'm not sure I should say. Noah from Lawrenceburg High School.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah. And his last, I forget how his last name is pronounced.
It's a hard K.
Is it?
Yeah,
okay.
I had some comments in the. Apparently, there's
easier.
some people that live kind of near them. They were a somewhat famous family in the area.
Is it Kanija?
No,
it's not Kanija.
No, it's what you think it would be with a hard K.
You're kidding me.
That's too bad.
I know, right?
They pronounce it K, the big N.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great. No,
it's not great.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Yeah.
Eddie's a white kid, and apparently it's an old family name.
He's
from
white?
From the UK. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Makes it even more complicated. Good luck, announcers.
Enjoy. We need a nickname stat.
Yeah.
That's
he
one
would
of
be
those
referred
things.
to summarily as number 10.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like when the Italians came over, 100 years ago, they all had to change their names to like something that with fewer than 8 syllables.
Yeah, so people could,
If you got a name like that, you got to do the same thing. You got to bite the bullet and change it.
Yeah, you got.
I agree. And I mean, I've been hanging in there with the preposterous name because it's, it's family. But when it's that cartoonishly challenging, dude.
So what's wrong with Kanija? That's a good name. Why don't they just change the pronunciation?
That's not how they say it.
I know it isn't what they should.
What if you did Canigro? Would that be better?
Yeah, Canigro. That'd be good. No?
African American. Just change his name.
African
American.
African American. That's exactly.
So, Kostaki, did Jameis Winston get your coach fired?
Boy, that's a good question. I'd like to ask your opinion on this because I could go either way. If you didn't see the end of that game, they were up by 24 points. There's 1 minute and 13 seconds left. They're on the 1 yard line of the Falcons. They're in the victory position. They fake the kneel down and hand it off and score a touchdown.
God.
It's a crazy choice. And I totally understand being pissed about it, but also feel like,
Yeah, I don't think I need to.
You know what I mean? Don't whine about running up the score.
It's definitely a stop them. Also, it's more annoying that they faked the kneel down. Like if they would have just lined up and ran a traditional handoff and scored, no big deal. But to essentially tell us you're going to kneel and then just kidding and
faking a kneel down is when you're up by 24 points. That's pretty rude. I mean, I'm not a football player, but that one seems way over the line.
And my favorite part about the whole thing is Jameis Winston's interview afterwards when they ask him about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we just voted on it as a team and decided we wanted to let this guy score a touchdown." So
yeah, and apparently the coach was pissed too because the coach called the kneel down, and the players huddled up and were like, "Nah, we're going to give it to Jamal."
He hasn't scored yet this year, so we wanted to get a touchdown.
It's such a crazy choice. If I'm the Saints coach, I'm really like, you can't have that sort of blatant insubordination on a simple choice at the end of a game. I don't know. It's a tricky situation, but no, I don't think I think it made it easier to fire him. Maybe that's why I fired him yesterday instead of today. Right. But he definitely deserves some firing, in my opinion.
Okay, I have a question for you then. Shouldn't our guy be fired because they did the tush push for a second time It didn't work the first time, so they tried it again. And the tush push was done by a guy who's like 5'9" and weighs 140 pounds. Why would you use a guy that small for the tush push? It's not going to work.
It's a good question. There were several good questions from this weekend. Like the Colts ended the game by throwing an incomplete pass to the third string running back. It's the end of the game. It's the whole season's on the line for one play. Why is Jonathan Taylor not in this play? Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I mean, I guess in the cacophony and the craziness and all the downs and the players coming in and out, but man, there's some of these kind of moments where you're like, come on, what are you doing?
I mean, honestly, you got a pretty decent running back. Addison? Is that his name?
Madison.
Yeah. Madison. Okay. Now he's a good running back. Why didn't he do the tush push?
Yeah, he's at least, got big ass thighs and everything. Right.
Exactly. I don't understand some of these calls that these people make. I don't get it, and I never will get it. I don't understand.
It's also weird to me that other teams aren't better at the tush push. This is something that's been a central conversation point for 2 years now. Like, study this and figure out how to be better at it and learn how to stop it. Like, it's weird that it's basically one team has been gigantically successful with it, and everyone else. The Giants tried it and injured 2 players on a single play.
But you also have to have the personnel, because like Jalen Hurts, his legs are the size of tree trunks. Like
Jalen's an unusual
500 pounds. Or if you have, the Buffalo Bills, they're very successful with it as well, with Josh Allen, who's 6'5", like 250. So you can't, when you have little, Kirk Cousins, who's barely 200 pounds.
Right.
You're going to be able to push as far.
Yeah. So that's a different situation. Right. And so you need to, but still, I mean, we should be able to get better at it broadly as a, there's 32 teams in this league who are studying this play and trying to figure it out. It's weird that only one team has been really good at it. It's weird.
I have a question for you, because I just thought of this. I didn't even consider this before. So you got a guy behind you. What'd you say? He's 6'6", weighs about 250.
Yeah.
The guy you were just talking about?
Yeah, Josh Allen. He's probably someone.
Josh Allen, yeah. Yep. Okay, 6'5", 250. If you're the quarterback, you're taking the whole brunt of the hit from the guy behind you who's gigantic and the guy in front of you who's coming at you full speed. That must hurt, I would think.
Yeah, they're pushing your key player into a giant pile. It's very scrummy.
Exactly. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's true.
I don't get it.
Now they got a couple wrinkles on it. Last night we had Josh kind of go to the side and then jump over the pile, and we've had a couple of tush push fakes where they do an end around. Now it's got its own sort of storyline. It's kind of fun. I hope they don't. They might outlaw it this offseason. We'll see.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, they probably will outlaw, because I gotta believe that hurts like a sumbitch if the guy in the middle.
Yeah, you're in the middle of 10 dudes, maybe.
Jesus, can't be too comfortable is all I have to say. I don't know. So who you got going to the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like as we sit here today, the Ravens feel kind of a presumptive favorite, unstoppable force. And on the other side, I feel like, the Niners are definitely the team to beat. I feel like in both cases, there's a little bit of a lineup to get smashed by these two teams. But the Niners got their asses kicked recently, and any given Sunday, man, there's some good teams left. So I don't know. I'd have to pick those two if I was betting, but I think there's probably 8 teams that could win a Super Bowl that are left standing at this point. It's kind of fun.
Once you get away from the Green Bays, they haven't been there in a while, but teams like that, you look at all these teams, the 49ers were not very good 35, 40 years ago. All of a sudden they got really good. And now since then they've been coming and going and winning Super Bowls. It looks like that team's gotten a lot. It looks like a pretty terrific team again, doesn't it?
Yeah. Top to bottom, they're definitely top couple of teams in the league right now. So
exactly. And they did they have the same ownership they had back when Joe Montana was there?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that. Tevin,
I don't know
that?
I would assume so, because they're a very historic franchise. So I feel it makes some news if they switched ownership.
Yeah, I think it'd be a huge story. So maybe it is the ownership that's responsible for all this stuff, whether it's Dallas, because Dallas, once again, they're coming on strong again, too.
Yeah, they look good this week for sure.
They did.
Of course, they played the Commanders.
They got to
His
come up
coach
with
was-
a better name than the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I don't know how they didn't go with, was it Red Wings? Red Tips. I really love that name.
Oh yeah, and yeah, Denise DiBartolo York. Her
Oh.
family has owned it since 1977.
There you go. Denise is the kid of the big superstar, right? That's one of these situations we're talking about.
Indeed. And who was the owner of the club again? I can't remember what town it was even in, where he got pulled over for drunk driving. The first thing he said is, I own the football team.
Jim Irsay.
Jim Irsay, that's right. It was him. Was that Indianapolis?
Yeah.
He said, hey, I know I'm drunk, but I own the football team, so I'm okay.
Well, there's
this
a lot
year
of towns
he-
where that would get you out
Yeah,
of the tickets.
That's
so,
true. Probably
yeah.
true.
This year, he preposterously discussed that at length and suggested
He
that
did.
it was because he was a white billionaire is why he was arrested.
I agree. 100%. I agree.
Might be true.
Might be.
What the hell? All right. I know you got, my God, you stayed with us a long time today, Kostaki. I appreciate your time
Well, I wanted to prove that I'm a real friend, Tom.
because it's early in the year.
We never figured out what makes you a true friend, so you
Yeah.
gotta just try everything, right?
Got to figure it out.
Yeah, well, we're free now, Tom. Our teams are done until September. We can just relax.
Yeah, we got nothing to do.
Oh yeah.
Just watch some football.
And of course, my twins have let about 4 or 5 people go, and it doesn't look like they're going to pick anybody up. So even when old February comes, the end of February, and they start spring training, it can be all that exciting. I just don't think they're going to make any big moves there either. I don't know. I don't get it. They came
It's hard
close
being a
last year.
sports fan.
Oh, it is. I mean, there's no, particularly in Minneapolis or Atlanta.
Oh yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
True.
How about
All
the
right,
dogs?
Tyler.
That's my good team. That's my team right now. That's the team I focus on.
Who's that?
The Georgia Bulldogs, the best college football dynasty in the land right now, Tom.
That's
I don't know
true.
if you're paying attention.
No, I am. I didn't. Yeah, it's the dogs. Whatever.
Yeah, you can't say
It's
that.
different
around here.
dogs
This is-
playing tonight
this is
for
Roll
the
Tide
national
territory.
championship.
This is
Yeah.
Roll Tide territory.
Roll Tide. All right, we will talk to you next week, I'm hoping.
Yeah, sounds good. Count me in. Happy New Year, guys. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Kostaki. Kostaki Economopoulos, ladies and gentlemen, talking a little NFL action. I don't know. It was a bad year for Tevin. It was a bad year for me because the Vikings sucked right out of the box. I watched some of the games, and I just got to the point where it's like, oh my God, this team is not very good, right?
Yeah, even when they kind of went on a little winning streak, it didn't. It felt more of like an aberration. It was, not something else sustainable.
I
all
know,
year.
but everybody got super hopeful.
Oh, you can't help it.
I know. And I held my tongue. I held my tongue. I wanted to say, just wait.
We'll see how it
Just
works.
wait.
The Vikings will cave in, Tom.
They
Don't worry
always
about it.
do.
They always cave in, so they'll cave in again.
It's their storyline that never changes.
Oh, well. All right. Then
Has-
we got some closing comments. We only got about 2 minutes.
Has anybody seen the big thing that was going on in Miami?
What?
You talk about the aliens?
Oh, yeah.
Did
they-
you see that?
What
No, that's made the national news.
There was like 60 cop cars or something.
Okay,
wasn't
well,
there?
I actually read the story, the actual story. I think it was in the Miami Herald. Anyway, some youths were shooting fireworks into a crowd by a mall.
Oh, fun.
And the local police were having a hard time containing it because there were so many of them and they were not happy. So they did something that they call down here sort of like a riot control. They call every cop available and they just
Oh.
put it and they just stop it.
All hands on deck.
Yeah, they don't just, it's not like Minneapolis where it's like, I don't know why we can't do anything about that. So we're not going to do anything. So anyway, they all went crazy. And apparently there was a camera that somebody had and there was this big shadow and it looked like a 10-foot tall insect. So it went viral that there was aliens in Miami
my
running
God.
around and all of
Yeah.
a sudden all over the internet, there's pictures of these giant insects walking
Yeah.
down.
No,
the
I
road.
remember seeing the proof picture, like it was from like a drone or a helicopter or something, and it was like the blurriest thing. It's like
Yeah.
of the 3 pixels in that image, 2 of them you could make look like an alien if you squinted.
Yeah. Well, and of course, people with computers now, they make they made it look like there's been insects walking down the highway.
Well, that's easy. Yeah.
So,
of course.
So people are just convinced it's a conspiracy theory. They don't. Why would all those cops be there just for kids brawling at a mall? And yeah. So anyway,
Here, I'm going to make one right now.
it's pretty exciting stuff.
Miami.
You're making it up.
Create images with AI.
Oh, I have to sign in here.
Yeah.
It'll take about 30 seconds to make one.
Really?
I'll show you how quickly and easily you can do
You would
this sort of
think,
thing.
Catherine, if there were aliens walking around Miami with all those people, it's not like everybody has a phone or anything that they can
Exactly.
video.
But yeah, but the spokesperson for the police or whatever just showed it was a shadow cast by a human.
Yeah, but shadows can become longer based on where the light source is
Absolutely.
relative to you.
Yeah, and the camera angle and everything else. So yeah, so
There you go.
yeah, it was a big.
There's Miami getting destroyed by a giant
Oh my
alien
god,
insect.
you just did that?
Yep.
That's pretty
Took
impressive.
me what, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tevin can't see it.
They weren't.
No.
It wasn't nearly as good as that. The one that I saw.
No, even crappier than this.
Much
Okay.
crappier.
Even crappier than
It looks
this.
sort of like a giant spider just walking down the street.
No.
Kind of. Yeah.
All right, that is going to do it. Tevin, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Awesome. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
All
Okay.
right. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Ouch, Judy. I'm not on.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm going to do some board work with Tevin.
Oh.
All right.